Welcome back, everyone, to Red Spotlight Entertainment. I'm Alexis, and I'm joined today by David Francisco and by Peter Martinez today. This is the show, the podcast that brings you everything coming out of the world of movies and more. And like we have been talking about, it's kind of been a very lively time. At long last, the summer season is here, and there's really no shortage of things to talk about when it comes to, actually the movies themselves that are opening, how they're performing, what's coming up, and then also what we have to look forward to. We have so much to get to tonight, including reviews for Obsession, Backrooms, Disclosure Day, and with any other films. I believe, David, you saw
Toy Story
Robin
5.
Hood. Robin Hood, right? I don't think he's...
I saw The Death of Robin Hood and The Furious.
And The Furious. Okay, so we got those to note. David has not seen Toy Story 5 yet. We do have one
Who said
person
anything
who
about
has
David?
David has not seen Toy Story 5.
I
Alexis
never
Moreno,
implied that David saw Toy Story 5.
Are you implying that I did?
I never implied that you saw Toy Story 5.
Then who did? I know it's not you. You would... Okay, whatever. Alexis Moreno has seen Toy Story 5, right? Or no?
She did. She hasn't given me her thoughts, though. I haven't really asked, so I'm...
Oh, she's keeping those cards close to the vest there.
She's learned her lesson.
It could also be that, too. But then also, too, you saw the message that she sent to you about what happened recently around her work?
The shooting?
Yeah.
Oh, there was a shooting. Yeah, what's up? What?
Yeah.
Any new information on that?
No, not really. It's just, she heard the shots. She looked out the window to see what was happening. And yeah, just...
Can I tell you something? I was joking. What the fuck? There was a shooting?
Oh my god! I thought you might have looked at the news or something.
No, what the fuck?
There was a...
I just said the most ridiculous thing that came to my head. What the fuck do you think there was a shooting?
Oh my god!
Yeah, it was at some bus stop. I actually don't even know if someone got killed or something. But yeah.
I wasn't even questioning it, Peter. I just assumed that she had told you in a DM or whatever. Because how did he know? I just assumed that she told you. That's exactly what happened.
I thought he saw the news and maybe I'd have known that it was near her work or something. But
No.
Well, that's a surefire way to
man.
open the podcast here tonight. This is going to be episode 541. About 9 or so away from the big 550 already. So, the world's absurdly longest running podcast known to man. I think we have that title for a pretty good bit. And we'll continue to have it.
As a treat to celebrate the 550th episode, every single member that was on that first episode is going to come back for a reunion episode.
Peter, I don't know where you get off announcing such things. I don't. This is the first I hear of it. I want to be clear about that. That's not happening.
What?
I'm not opposed to that happening if you can somehow arrange that. But I
if you
don't
want to block people from coming back, I guess. I mean,
I just said if anybody would like to come
them,
back from that initial. Who are you speaking of? I mean, name the names.
I don't know. I've only recently been a part of this podcast. I don't really know, but this is just what I heard. Similar to the shooting.
Who are all the people who? Who are all the people? You gotta tell Alexis that, David. That was what a guess that was. Who are all the people who were on that first episode? Do you even recall that the first episode of this show was we had a backdoor pilot? It was supposedly a Barely News Crew 1-year anniversary that was then at the very end announced as the first installment of Red Spotlight Entertainment. Do you recall the people who were there?
I was not there.
Okay, but you were there from episode 17. This is now episode 541. You've been here from the very beginning. I hate to break it to you, but you've been here from the very beginning.
I'm more of a recent addition.
David, do you recall the first... what's the first movie review that this podcast had Peter being a part of? Do you even know yourself? I mean, you, by the way, I should say... supposedly you are the number one fan of this podcast. That is how you got a ticket to appear on the official 100th episode of this show. If I'm not mistaken, it was a contest, and you did win that. I would think if anybody
he got on air the old Hollywood way.
You know, so and then he ended up being the producer and the editor and like basically so it's like, but what do you remember? What was the first time that he's the first time? What was the first movie review that Peter had on this podcast? I know for a fact it was episode 17, but do you recall the movie? And I'll tell you, I'll give you a hint. It was released over 10 years ago. We did the review in February 2016. So, by the way, Peter, congratulations. You've been a part of the show for 10 years.
Wasn't it Batman v Superman? Or
Close.
Oh.
It was before. Right before.
Then I don't know which one.
Think Valentine's Day.
Valentine.
Speaking of sleeping away to the top.
No, I don't remember what came out.
First, I think you actually appeared not on the podcast, but you appeared on the After Dark. It may have been your first appearance on Red Spotlight After Dark. You with Alexis, myself, and Kyle Lara.
What was my first one? Was it Suicide Squad? Or that came out after though? Yeah.
Real quick, Kyle Lara has given us his ranking of the Toy Story films. His favorite, number 1, Toy Story 2. Second favorite, Toy Story. Third favorite, Toy Story 3. Of course, he would put Toy Story 5 and then Toy Story 4. Just to give you the all too predictable ranking from what most people would say. And by the way, history has proven me correct that people would be reacting to it that way. All of a sudden, everybody's like, you know what? I'll go ahead and eat Toy Story 6. Go ahead. Give it my way. I'm sorry. I thought we were done. Fucking pieces of shit. Anyway, Dave, I'm sorry to cut you off. Go ahead. Guess the movie.
I said Suicide Squad, but that came out after BVS, right?
Deadpool.
Really? Wait, I wasn't that one?
It was Deadpool. You were, yeah. I'm pretty sure you were. You were in the BVS one, but I'm pretty sure you were in the Deadpool one. Wow. And I'm not mistaken, the Deadpool one was when you and Alexis, I think we went in your vehicle and you were seated at the front, and then Kyle was like in between the two of you, backseat podcasting, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
Anyway, just to prove that point, we didn't have to waste 5 minutes on this, but when I'm derailed, I have to just make sure the facts are, set out there. Like, even, can you just see the look of shock and disgust in Peter's face right now that I remember all those particular moments in time? Yeah. Anyway, that's the podcast right now. David, you are a dedicated and devoted AMC stub member. Do you, and this is just a completely strange way to begin the conversation, but I don't care. It's a podcast, right? Do you really collect popcorn buckets, or do you not really care for them?
Wait, hold on one thing. Is your mic connected to Discord? You sound weird.
I was going to tell him right at the end of the episode. You kind of ruined it.
Off screen, Peter and I have been discussing, popcorn buckets just because, we've been seeing a lot more of those being promoted, at least in our theater. And Peter himself was actually quite impressed with some of the Toy Story popcorn buckets. I believe some of them were themed to Buzz
just
Lightyear.
One.
Sorry?
It's the only, I would.
There were two. There was two Buzz Lightyear ones. There was one that you showed me and one that I showed you.
But I was saying the one that I would legitimately own, although it's probably cost like $200 because of scalpers, is the I don't know if you saw this one, David. It's the combo like cup and popcorn bucket, and it looks exactly like Buzz Lightyear shaped.
Oh, I don't think I've ever seen it. No,
it's really cool.
Okay, I really like that 50th anniversary one. Of what? Toy Story? Was it? No, what? Not 50th. Fucking the anniversary one of Toy Story. I don't know why I said 50th.
50th would not be it. We would be much older if that was the case.
I don't know.
We'd be like Moreno's age at this point.
Where the heck did 50th come from for me? I don't know. But like there was an anniversary one for Toy Story, and I was just like, oh,
30th would be the one.
30th. Yeah, that makes more sense. But yeah, I like popcorn buckets. You can see two right here, Last Jedi and Far From Home. Although
that Last Jedi one was a good popcorn.
Yeah, this one's really good.
Poster.
So you got them from the worst films.
Far From Home, honestly, is the one that like I would get rid of, but I just haven't. And then I got 2 new ones when I saw Project Hail Mary. It was the Project Hail Mary one and the Mario Galaxy one.
Oh,
So it was. I thought the Mario Galaxy was just like super super nice. So I was just like, I really want this, so I got it.
how much were they? If you don't mind my asking,
I don't remember.
because these things cost quite a bit. If we're
Now
being
they
honest.
do.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I feel like that might have been fairly cheap since I bought both of them at the same time. So I want to guess $30 for
Okay,
both.
that's pretty good. It's good. So it's not like those really fancy ones. Like I think like for example, there's the Supergirl one that's causing everybody to laugh.
Yeah.
Because it looks like something rather suggestive. Or remember the Dune one? Last year there was a Galactus one for the Fantastic Four, and I believe they even released one that kind of cool. Well, depending on how you feel about it, they unveiled a new IMAX popcorn bucket to celebrate the Odyssey. I don't know if you saw those.
You know what's funny? I would totally get that one, except it says the Odyssey on it.
It does?
Yeah.
I thought it just said IMAX. I didn't see the Odyssey
No,
logo on
it says like Odyssey something on it, and it's like if it just said IMAX, I would probably get that because that's pretty cool.
Mhm.
That's a
pretty
cool collectible.
Yeah,
I would. That's
cool.
like one of the ones that actually appeals to me.
Yeah.
But of
Pretty
course, Nolan
niche.
would slap that on that. I mean, I guess in fairness, I didn't know this myself, but the Odyssey, which is going to open about a little less than a month from now, is going to be the first movie ever to be completely shot on IMAX.
Mhm. Okay.
So that's
pretty
cool.
cool.
That'll be fascinating to see. Definitely makes it more of an event to go see that film
Mm.
than it already was. David?
Although with popcorn buckets, I don't really like super fancy ones like that Dune one or anything like that. I
No,
just mainly
no.
prefer these metal ones, and then that's it. I want
I
that.
like the fancy ones, but they gotta be cool. They gotta be not stupid. A lot of
Yeah.
them are just stupid.
If they
What's
can
the last
be-
one you purchased, David? I mean, I'm not sorry, David. I mean, Peter.
Oh, I've never purchased one.
Okay. All right, David.
No, I mean it just has to be like really cool, kind of practical for it to work for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if you can-
Yeah, I
it
see.
says-
Yeah, oh, I see
it
the
says,
Odyssey. I
like,
didn't
the
catch that.
Odyssey
It does say
Mhm.
the
right there
Odyssey.
below it. But like, it's
Uh,
cool, right? Like,
Yeah,
I
it's
would-
It
really
is,
nice.
yeah.
But if I get you. If it didn't say the Odyssey, you would have bought it. And then I think like the only one that's like kind of fancy, if I would have liked the movie, was Mandalorian. Was like I thought that was pretty creative of using the helmet straight up to make a popcorn bucket of it. I'm like, okay, that's actually
Mm,
pretty nice. If I cared about
No
the
one
movie.
saw that, though.
Yeah. If I cared about the movie, I would have bought it probably. But yeah, other than that, I just
Yeah.
prefer the metal ones.
I don't know if you
yeah,
can-
that one right
That's
there.
amazing.
You
Yeah.
see it, and like the backpack is like where you put the soda with the straw, and
Is-
it has the
And that's for Toy Story
that's
5?
yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's awesome.
And I'm like, that's a cool designed one. A lot of them aren't designed well.
No,
You know what I mean?
no.
Um,
Cinemark has very standard and basic popcorn buckets, but they're nice. I have a few
nice.
from theirs. I've gotten Superman. There's a generic
Jaws one
Cinemark
is
like
nice.
popcorn one. That one was that one is I would not include it in the generic. That one is a genuinely nice popcorn bucket because
No,
it's
but
a
it-
legit like bucket.
To me, generic is like it's the regular like circular one. Like it's a literal bucket. It's
Let me
not
see if I can
like
find it.
to me.
Continue.
To me, the generic ones are the ones that are like buckets.
Yeah,
you know, and then like the other more stylized ones are like the Dune one or the one I just showed, the Odyssey one with
Mhm.
this. I would own one of those. The one I would have owned, but it costs $80, and I'm not paying fucking $80 for it. Is the Frankenstein one? It was like a skull,
Oh yeah. Oh,
and it
okay.
looked really cool.
Yeah, that one's really
But I
cool.
am paying fucking $80 for
Mhm.
a skull popcorn bucket.
No, yeah.
I
I'm
forgot
not
about the
that much
Frankenstein
of a
one.
loser.
Yeah.
I mean, the ones that I saw, I mean, the Galactus one was like, what, $80? Some of them go for a lot, but I don't really venture into those. So these are the recent ones that I got. This is from the last year, Superman, as
Nice.
David Cornsweet Has it's just very very normal standard tin. Like to me, this is like a classic shape popcorn bucket.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you, David. The elaborate ones, I'm like, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't really look like one. It's just more like an action figure, which I think, to Peter's point, can be cool. But I think it also has to serve a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some of them just don't make that much sense as popcorn buckets.
Even
They have to
Like-
actually be able to hold popcorn.
yeah, like
Yeah,
a
I
lot
have
of
a few
popcorn
of those.
basically. Actually, you know, ones too, the like Disney ones. I don't know if you like ever gotten one of those before, but I know my mom has gotten like that
well, yeah.
balloon shaped like Mickey head popcorn bucket. It's fine.
Let me see.
That's so
That
cool.
was the Frankenstein one?
yeah.
Yeah,
Wow, that's
It's
nice.
so good.
that's so cool, right?
Mhm.
But I'm not paying fucking $80.
Yeah.
No.
Ridiculous.
And then
Um,
and there was like that Cinderella's cart as a popcorn bucket, and then there's one I have. It's down there, but it's like a TIE Fighter popcorn bucket. It's like a straight up TIE Fighter, and so I think
yeah,
I might
from
have used it
Disneyland or what?
from Disneyland, yeah. So those are actually
This is
really
one
nice,
that-
but
This
yeah,
is
not
for
practical.
Disclosure Day.
Nice.
They had the little like alien logo eye thing.
Mhm.
That one, yes, whatever. But it was, again, it does the job as a tin. And then the one that, speaking of Spielberg, last year when we went to go see Jaws for the 50th anniversary, and that might be the one that you were thinking about, David.
Maybe
Look at this one.
that's good.
It's like a chum bucket, basically,
Mhm.
right? That's
It's a
what
postcard.
I think of. And the postcard of, let me see if I can get it closer. Right there to show you. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really good.
Jaws 50. Yeah. Like this was too nice. And it's huge. Like this had like a whole bunch of popcorn in it. So, and what's funny is, wait, you know what? I'm trying to remember. I don't think I got this for Jaws 50. They just happened to have it when we went to go see, oh my God, was it Jurassic World Rebirth? This was the highlight of Jurassic World Rebirth, was buying this popcorn bucket. I'll tell you that. That movie was a piece of shit. So that's what I've gotten lately. I try not to get them too much. I between that, occasionally getting posters, which I don't really do much of anymore, and then what Peter and I mainly do these days, and I think you maybe sometimes occasionally you do too, David, is physical media.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of, there's a massive sale coming up in the month of July for anybody interested. The Criterion Collections, whole month long, 50% off everything sale. Starts July 1st all the way to the end of the month. Do not miss that opportunity. So I know that everybody on this channel is particularly fond of physical media shopping, so that should be something we should keep an eye out for. And speaking of that, we would be remiss if this was not mentioned. Peter, you actually were teasing it, but it has now been confirmed. They're going to be doing a special box set for Stanley Kubrick. I believe it's going to be 13 features. What you were the one that was kind of like, this was on your radar.
Mhm.
What do you make of the information that has been released as far as what it looks like? What do you think about it?
I would have had more respect if they called it the Coup-Brick collection and then just stylized it like a giant brick. Because it already looks like a giant brick. It's a big red it's a big red box. No, it looks awesome. It's great. But similar to the Wes Anderson collection, I might just be looking at it because it's pretty fucking expensive.
Mm-hmm.
What was the price tag you saw?
$600.
How many movies though?
13? Maybe I forgot the exact number.
I mean,
So
was it
somebody
13
here
discs?
shared their receipt. It was $599.95. Jesus Christ. And then I don't know what they did, but it ended up getting bought down the price to $479.96.
that's not bad for 13 movies. I mean,
I'll say this. I think, and to a lot of people, I mean, it's true, is that the price is factored in that most people who purchase it will wait for the coveted, which happens a couple of times a year, 50% off Criterion sale. And they kind of factor into the price that most people who purchase it will purchase it at 50% off, which $300. Which is still
I was going to ask you though, are they
crazy
going to
amount of
allow
fucking
it
money.
to be part
Oh,
of
yeah.
the deal though? Because sometimes they do. Don't they exclude some titles if they're newer?
No,
Or no?
no.
Okay then.
Well, they have to already be like. Well, it's different because there's Barnes and Noble 50% off sales, and then there's directly from Criterion themselves 50% off.
Okay.
With Barnes and Nobles, it's sometimes like just whatever they have available, you know.
Yeah.
Versus Criterion, I think it's everything they got. So yeah. Yeah.
I assume the Wes Anderson one was priced similarly.
I don't know if it's a little less or a little more. I think it's a little less.
Because it was 11 movies in that case. Am I not mistaken?
Let me see. Wes.
It's about a little bit less
Anderson.
there. I assume at some point they're going to do a Del Toro and Scorsese collection, right? Although that's a lot more movies, I would say, for both. Well, Del Toro has made about 12 or so features, but Scorsese has made a lot of movies, which most of his filmography is already available.
I was going to say, if you want to see who they're going to do collections for, look at the directors where every fucking movie they release.
Every movie.
They put it's Del Toro and Scorsese, like everyone they throw on there.
Yeah. As far as like this month, they're going to be releasing one of Scorsese's lost 70s movies. Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore this month in July. I'm still waiting for Frankenstein by Del Toro. It's an immediate buy if it's coming out. I don't know what that is, but I'm seriously taking a consideration into getting Nightmare Alley because that looks incredible. Even though I already own the freaking Blu-ray, it's like somewhere here.
I'm telling you, you gotta get into the spirit of just you gotta resell.
Double dipping.
Mm-hmm.
Double. Well, it's not double dipping if you're making some money back. It's a light dip, you know, because if you sell your excess discs, it's not a complete loss.
No, it's not. And I have sold before. It's been a minute. It's been a couple of years since I've sold, but I was doing that for a minute there, but yeah, that's
also considering the disc, it might have gone up in price. The Wes Anderson Archive, it's 10 films and it's priced at $500. So, and like the sale, it would be what, $250?
Mm-hmm. I'm actually quite like curious about like where are the few Scorsese titles that they've not released? Because I know for a fact they haven't released Silence, and that's one that I'm waiting for.
I was gonna say
So
Silence.
I'm like,
yeah,
that's like a really big one because. And there are other Scorsese movies that are not in Criterion, but other like more boutique outlets have like released, like Hugo. I forget who it was, but they released a recent 4K of Hugo, which was beautiful transfer. And then I saw some video where they pulled out a random 4K Blu-ray of a Nick Cage film people don't even remember, but that was a Scorsese movie, Bringing Out the Dead, where he
Bringing Out the
like,
Dead. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
EMS
deep cut for that one. Yeah. I assume Kundun?
Isn't that in the Criterion?
Maybe not, but they did a recent box set where they had Kundun, Last Temptation, and Silence as a religious themed box set for Scorsese. So not Criterion, some other outlet did that. So that's what we're looking out for. Yeah, the one that I'm interested in is like Park Chan-wook's recent film, the one that you and I saw, David, No Other Choice. As I mentioned, maybe I didn't tell you, but I believe, who was it? The distributor who's the name of the distributor? I forget, but Neon. Neon is looking into dipping their toes into doing not only what Criterion does, but now what A24 is doing. And they're going to be releasing a really fancy, like, bricked up with like bonus features up the wazoo and audio commentaries for that movie from Park Chan-wook. But I think it starts like at $70, and I'm like, are you kidding me?
They're getting too boutique with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one movie. I could understand maybe a collection of Park Chan-wook's movies.
Yeah.
But like just one of them? $70? I don't know if I can
scale back on
that.
the packaging if you're gonna go 70. Like let's make it somewhat affordable.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's an interest at this point. Because of how, niche the physical media market has become. It's niche, but it's profitable. I just get the impression that a lot of these people just they feel like, okay, well, let's see what we can get away with. Let's see how much money we can actually make by charging them, all that first. What's funny, David, is and I may have mentioned this to you, but I don't know, because Peter has quite an extensive collection of films, but he indicated to me that he was a bit regretful in not buying up what you and Alexis did around the year 2019. If you recall that year, you were getting quite a bit of steelbooks there.
Yeah.
In 2019, you guys basically scooped up all those 4K Pixar steelbooks that were coming out at Best Buy.
Mm-hmm.
And Peter told me he was a little bit like, he can give you the adjective, but he wishes he could go back in time and get those steelbooks as you guys did. Do you recall, David, what were all the films that you got the steelbooks for? There were a lot of them.
We got a few. I know we must have gotten Toy Story, but Monster.
Don't you have those, Peter? You do have 1, 2, 3.
I have the Toy Story films that matter.
Yes, yeah, Toy Story 1, 2, and 3. And even if you did want to get 4, it wasn't even the same style. So that wasn't even when they released that movie.
Because at the time, I was like, oh, these are cute little variations on the film. I didn't know that was the last time they would fucking release them. Because since then, the only release they have is the ones with those ugly covers where it's just like the main character's face behind like a green screen and like that's it. And I hate them. I hate them so much. But there's been no other release of those films, so except Wall-E. Wall-E got a really awesome Criterion.
Yeah, but that wasn't Disney, which is like the overall.
But these were the
idea there,
Pixar films.
Yeah,
we're talking Pixar.
I think I got the
Your
Wall-E
jabroni.
Steelbook, but I also got the Criterion one. I can't remember. I gotta check actually. I know for sure I must have gotten like a Wall-E one because I love that movie. And then I think we got Good Dinosaur Up. Did we get that one? It's really hard for me to remember.
Do you two have any right to even own that film after all of the insults you've hurled at it throughout the years? I think Peter would have.
I think it's disgusting. It is morally repugnant that is within. Like, I think it is well within anyone's right to rob them blind. Due to that, the Steelbook specifically, not anything else. Well.
Well, there's that. This is interesting. Since we're on Pixar real quick here, it did kind of like bring up something that I wanted to talk about. And I'm quite curious to hear what you guys think about it, because it really had to do with a tweet that I saw in regards to the response that we're seeing from Toy Story 5. So Toy Story 5 has been out in theaters for about a week at this point, and a lot of the reactions that have come out of the movie are pretty much quite what you have expected, and what we told you they were going to be. And there's a lot of ways to feel about that. I do think there has been a little bit of a shift in how I think the game is played, as far as if you're a studio and you want your movie to come out, and like the waves of people who you invite and the order in which you want the reviews to drop. We'll get into that. But someone pointed out that there has been a real shift in the last decade and a half. And they were kind of like singling out Toy Story 3, not as the one that's like responsible for it, but maybe the one where this kind of sentiment kind of like really like cemented itself into the consciousness. which is there is a large subset of people who really do kind of measure how they feel about a movie, and maybe even much more annoyingly so about a Pixar movie specifically, based on how much it made them cry or not. And I think we might have talked about this in the years past, but this was interesting to me how this person was just kind of saying that was the moment where there was like no turning back, where like for whatever reason, because I guess the point of that tweet was like, look, up until Up and Toy Story 3, which both of them were like 1-2 like hit punches, most of the Pixar films before then were not emotionless, but they were mostly just like comedies. They were like good times. But with those films and then hitting as hard and then both getting Best Picture nominations, there seemed to be like this crystallization of what the Pixar formula was, and that they all had to kind of make you cry. And then I know in the 2010s, there was a little bit of an awareness to this notion that maybe that was part of what they were chasing, was the high of those highs, if you will. I don't think every Pixar movie tries to make you cry, but I think most of them do. But I think overall, my major problem with that is just because a movie makes you cry, to me, does not make it like the best of the best. I'll give you an example. I recently rewatched War Horse. That movie just gets me in my feels. Like, I don't know what it is about that animal specifically, or that dynamic, but like there are many moments that are just like, oh my, and that's what that movie is going for. But it's, when I think about the film, and I'm like, would not put that near the top of my favorite Spielberg films. I wouldn't put it, I think it's maybe closer to the mid tier, maybe even closer to the bottom tier for me personally. But I'm like, I don't know if you two have encountered this in people you know, or in circles online that you, maybe certain podcasts that you follow. Do you see this sentiment? And maybe this could be a reason as to why, number one, a lot of people just don't like Pixar films as much anymore. Or number two, when it comes to Toy Story films in particular, they seem to really measure their feelings based on how much it made them cry, which apparently this movie, 5, made them cry a lot.
Here's the thing. I think the reason people don't like Pixar films as much anymore is because they're not as good. And two, yeah, I do think people sometimes measure Pixar films and how like much they feel emotionally moved by the film, which, I mean, I guess there are worse metrics to measure a film. But I mean, yeah,
they for sure. It's been an annoying thing. That's how they measure it, about based on like how they feel about it, or if they cried and all that. And we for sure discussed it many times about it. But as to, I mean, I don't know about, that the past Pixar movies haven't been as good. I think for one thing, it's because most of them haven't been in theaters, that they just kind of forget about it and are just kind of, it's like they're focusing on the ones that came out in theaters, but completely ignore the ones that came out on streaming, which some of those were actually like really good. Turning Red and Luca, and so I don't think that part of the discussion is a bit iffy for me, at least like how people are saying like what was it, they're not liking it as much as anymore. But it's like, I mean, are you just saying that because you just haven't seen the ones that went to streaming, or or are you just focusing on the ones that went to movies? And what was the last one?
We should also clarify, Peter has this thing where he kind of like conflates, and he admits so, both Disney animation and Pixar animation films into one bucket. So in fairness, there's a lot more Disney animated films that have stunk flat out and have been bombs. Because, and look, you can have your feelings about them, but I mean, we've been saying it for a long time here. The original animated films that we've been covering the last 5 years of Pixar have been, for the most part, very good. Some have not.
I never said that they stunk or were bad. I said they're not as good.
Okay, Peter, but that's not the tone
that was
that
my.
you gave.
That was what I
you
said.
Understand? That's
I
why
said
Peter
the reason,
David was saying that, because the tone you gave was very different.
Listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth. I did not say that they were dog shit or bad or they stunk or anything.
No, but David's saying people are saying that. People do say that, not you, to be clear.
I think people hold Pixar to a very high standard. for a reason because
Yeah.
they set the standard. And I think their most recent films are, for the most part, not up to those standards. Now, you can say that's unfair to those new individual films to hold them to such standards, and maybe you're right. But I don't think that changes the fact that the reason why people feel these newer films aren't as good is because they're not.
And I agree that that's totally fair. But I also do want to add into this conversation is, personally, and this may be me, another one of these where it's me against the universe, and it very much is that. But I personally feel that people have lost their fucking minds these last 2 to 3 years because Moana 2, Inside Out 2, Zootopia 2, Toy Story 5. You're telling me those films were deserving of all the praise they got when they made all that much money, but no one ever talks about those movies because they don't exist in people's consciousness. Like they all came out, they all made all that money, they all had all this praise. Oh my God, they're back! Disney's back! They're making great things.
It's the same as the live action Disney films. No one cares about them. No one remembers them. They have no lasting. They're nothing. They're nothing.
Which is why, to me, it's like weighing how much people say about Pixar. To me, these days, just feels like gobbledygook. Like I can see some points, but like people are fucking insane.
But also, they're just. You need to just admit they're right when they say that the reason that people say they're not as good as they were before is because they're not as good as they were before. And we could go film by film, point by point.
Let me just tell you this. I'm not interested in saying they're right about anything when they're bitching, whining, and moaning and crying about this other stuff. And I'm like, you can't be like hyping this thing up when I know very damn well this is a very piss poor attempt at a film. It's like, I can't take anybody seriously. If you're going to tell me that Moana 2, Inside Out 2, Zootopia 2 were great, and at the same breath you're going to say that the original
Pixar
films...
and Disney animation now.
Well, okay, hold on. So
I know the difference, and I know which studio made them, Peter. You probably don't, but I mean, to be fair to you, who cares anymore? They're all the same mentality. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, I'm with you, Peter, in that, like, people have standards for Pixar movies, and that's totally fine. But I feel like their standards are still skewed. Like, I don't, because like I love all the Pixar, not all of them, but Pixar movies. But like, I love a lot of the Pixar movies. But when I look back at Toy Story 1 and then look at Turning Red, my feelings for both are pretty much the same. Like, I just like, yes, these are good movies. I had fun with both of them and all that. And it's like, okay, so what exactly is, for people who put in a higher standard, it's like, what is it exactly that's making it, high standard for you, Like, it doesn't make any sense for me, especially with what Alexis is saying, where it's like, they're talking about the Moana 2, Inside Out 2, and Toy Story 5, and it's like, you guys have fun with this, are absolutely loving it and all that, and somehow some of the other ones that we say that like are really, really good, like, doesn't live up to that. Like, it makes no sense. Like, what is your standard here? And so I personally, I don't know, I want to say for sure, like, I don't really it's gonna sound weird, but like, I don't have a standard for Pixar. I just want a good movie, and so when I get that, I think those are perfectly fine. So I don't know.
Here's the thing: you guys are forcing me to do this, so I'm gonna do this. Toy Story, A Bug's Life, Toy Story 2, Monsters Inc., Finding Nemo, The Incredibles, Cars. Ratatouille, Wall-E, Up, Toy Story 3. These are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Peter,
7,
no
8,
one
9,
denies
10.
that wasn't a legendary
No, I'm
run.
not done. I'm not done.
We don't deny that. That's very evident.
I'm not done.
All right.
10.
Look, can I
I'm
ask,
not done.
I know you're not, but
I am not done.
But
Do
this
you
upsets
not
me
understand?
because I'm like, okay,
you can respond after I'm done. After I'm done.
All right, fine.
I need to say this.
Fine.
10 of the best films the best animated films ever made.
People
maybe
would not
some
put
of
Bugs
the
Life in that
10
lineup.
best.
I'm sorry.
The 10 best.
People would not
some
put
of
Cars
the
in that
10
lineup.
best films. I said 10. I didn't say 11. I don't know if you caught that. I didn't include Cars in the lineup.
You did though. It's in there. It's in there.
Right now I said 10 of the best films, not 11. So, 10 of some of the best animated films ever made. 10 of the best films ever made. And then what follows is Cars 2, Brave. I know there's some MU fans out there. That's nice. Inside Out. I really love Inside Out. I think a lot of people consider Inside Out to the level of that golden first 10.
Too bad about that sequel, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The Good Dinosaur. And I know Lexus has a lot to say about that film. Finding Dory. Again, I'm not saying these are the worst films in the world. What I'm saying is...
You act like it, though. I will tell you that. And people act like that, and it kind of takes away from what you're saying. But go ahead.
Cars 3. Coco. Another film that I would say, I think, stands up there with some of the best of Pixar. Incredibles 2. Which, maybe I'm alone. One of Pixar's worst films. Toy Story 4. Onward. Soul. I know a lot of people love Soul. Maybe it's just me. I couldn't really connect with Soul, funny enough. Luca. I love Luca. And I love Turning Red. Is it Golden Age Pixar? I don't think it matters because I love him. But, you know. Then you have fucking Lightyear. Elemental. Inside Out 2. Elio. Hoppers. Toy Story 5.
And then what's coming up is Monsters 3, Incredibles 3,
Monsters
and
3, Incredibles
Coco
3.
2.
So, yeah, I'm sorry. You can hate these people all you want. And maybe the reasons why they think that some were better, some were worse are bullshit. I would probably agree with you on that. But the sentence, Pixar films are not as good as they used to be, is just factual. It's just factual.
Okay.
I think that point is made. I feel you eloquently stated your point of view, and I think many people would agree with you. I would just say that more than the individual parts, it was the sum of its parts, if you will. That whole era from 95 to 2010, because they're having hit after hit after hit, and then it peaked with 3. Yes.
I would just say, I think something such as that sentence, some of its parts, that to me is what I would say about like the first 3 phases of Marvel.
Yeah.
Rather than the Pixar Golden Age.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's the sum of the parts, because you can pick any except for Cars. You can pick any individual film out of that run.
What is wrong with Cars? It's
just
fine film.
It's fine.
It's a fine movie.
I'm not saying it's terrible. It's just fine. And I'm not a Cars guy in general. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Honestly, it would probably work better at live action as a 90s rom-com.
I hope you take that back, because you know
a
Disney
la
these days.
Sweet Home Alabama. But it's... You take any individual film and it's fantastic and it stands on its own. Whereas something like Marvel, it's like...
I agree 1,000% when it comes to that, which is why I wasn't comparing it to Marvel personally. Because Marvel Studios
I know you weren't,
fucked.
but I'm saying the sum of its parts, I think that kind of phrase more aptly goes in that direction rather than this direction.
Yes. Okay. I love literally... I don't think there's a single film I don't love in that entire lineup. And I think that proves the case. And I do not argue that Pixar has had a run as good as that run. I don't think they can. I don't think they will, based on who, controls Pixar. That's how it is. That can't be disputed. And I agree that when people say that was the golden age, the golden run, yes, that's not in dispute. What I do not is that people just become so obsessed to the point of like we can't. They close their minds and their ears and their eyes to the potential of like, yes, they'll include Coco. Yes, they'll include Inside Out. But I'm also just like, okay, but what about Turning Red? And what about Luca? Those two films, I will tell you, I can put up with the best of the original Pixar movies, and I think they go toe to toe. They don't do the same things, and I probably is sacrilege for me to even say that it can compete with the upper echelon. But people, for the most part, don't say that. They don't believe that. They barely even acknowledge they exist. And so, but then again, we can't celebrate those movies because, we gotta like, jerk off Toy Story 5 because it's a sequel and we can't like not look, in unison with that point of view that, obviously because the Toy Story film is going to be amazing. By the way, a lot of people, getting back to that movie, were putting it above the original Toy Story movie, putting it above Toy Story 3 in their like rankings, which again further invalidates a lot of those perspectives, if you ask me. So anyway, we really got on a whole tangent here, but I guess it was a necessary thing. Because I do like really just like recoil when it comes to this sense, and I just feel like people fall in love too much with like a particular era of anything, and then they literally compare everything they've done lately. We might wrap around again when we talk about Spielberg, which it also, or Scorsese. Peter will have an annoying smug comment to say about that, but
whoa,
I know he will. He will.
Quite the accusation.
But I hate the fact that, when we have a great
Try not
artist
to hate.
and he has a new movie. Well, speaking of, try not to hate. I would appreciate if people would actually like try not to be fucking haters and actually would appreciate and absorb something. But whenever we have like a master of the arts that releases something new, it immediately has to like go toe to toe with Jaws. Otherwise it means nothing. And I don't like that conversation. Why can't something just be fine or good on its own and not measure up to one of the best things ever made? In order for it to have any kind of meaning or value. And you can stack that up with like any director, any studio. And I'm just like, okay, it's good, but it's not as like Toy Story 3 good. So therefore it doesn't mean anything. Where is the logic in that? Is what bothers me.
In general, I think any film on its own, I would agree. But when it comes to sequels, I don't know. I kind of don't feel the same.
Oh, sequels is one thing.
I feel like
sequels are different.
That's different.
If you're
that's
double
different.
dipping, you gotta prove your worth to exist.
No, yeah,
in
for
my
sure.
eyes.
I agree.
I mean, like I mentioned it before with like Incredibles 2, there was so much potential.
That movie
with
sucked.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We were all correct. That movie sucked. We were there that opening weekend. We were like, what are these people looking at? And now everybody, I feel like you're not in the minority, Peter. I think most people have come around to the idea that film is at the bottom of the whole, I don't know, however ever movies that Pixar has made. It's definitely, I think, the worst. I think it's the worst sequel. I at least, look, Cars 2 is not a good movie, but I have fun with it. Incredibles 2 is a vast disappointment of a movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a very bottom tier film if there ever was one. Lightyear, I will say, gives them both a run for its money. I don't like that movie at all. I think I aggressively despise Lightyear.
Yeah, but like sequels, that's a whole different tangent of it because like, you're directly competing from its previous one, and obviously you want high standards for that one. But like, I don't like it when it, something like Turning Red comes out and they're comparing it to Toy Story, and I'm like, okay, wait, hold on, what's the similarities here? Like, this is a completely different story, there's a completely different style, completely different tone of what
It didn't
Toy
make
Story...
me cry, David. It didn't
Yeah.
make me cry. It doesn't reach my high standards of like, it didn't do what Toy Story did for me, so why does that movie matter?
And especially when it comes to like any other movie, I wouldn't compare a Saving Private Ryan to Harry Potter or something like that. It's like, whoa, hold on, these are two completely different movies. Like, what the hell is going on here? And so that's kind of how I see it whenever people go, like, oh yeah, it didn't make me cry, so therefore not.
Well,
good.
it's like this is what I go back to, and Peter, I hope this is not annoying you, but I go back to, and I'm gonna praise you right here. I go back to one of the, I feel, maybe it's not an expression, but it's something you definitely repeated a lot in the early days of this podcast, which is like, if a film, you basically judge every film on its own. I think you, by the way, I don't agree with all your opinions, but most of them I do. and I do love the way that you kind of meet a film where it's at. Sometimes the candor. I love the candor, but sometimes the I guess you could say the decorum isn't quite there. But who cares? It's entertaining, right? But
You
the
calling
point
me
is,
low class?
you always say no. I would never say that.
You would never say it.
You say you've always said that you basically grade a film by what it's accomplishing to set out to do and how well it executes that idea. What bothers me is that most people don't even consider that when they look at movies, when they absorb movies. And to me, and this is when we have, again, some disagreement, but it personally, I can't stand the notion of like podcasts that ask people to rate it 1 out of 10. And I'm just like, I don't know if ratings or a rating system like Rotten Tomatoes, for instance, or Cinema Score, I just don't know. I don't like how it's really just shut down potential conversations for films and how they work or how they don't work. I don't like that we're like, for instance, what was the example that David just said? Saving Private Ryan compared to, let's just put The Color Purple. Not remotely the same kind of movie. And yet, like, we're just going to assign number scores to everything. And just like when the general common public, like if you run into some normie and they ask you, rate this movie out of 10, or what was it about? What was the plot? And I'm like, this is a tangent for me. Just the general way that the public engages with movies. And I know this is not new ground for us. We've said this before. I know this is just repeating it, but I recoil at the ways in which they just refuse to engage with the film. And that's that. Like, how would we even have a podcast for 10 years if we can't talk for hours and hours and hours about movies? There's so many ways in which they succeed and fail, and yet it all comes down to a fucking number.
I do think, I mean, there's a trend.
I'm not saying there's not a value in that. I agree.
No, but I think there is a trend where people try to mathematically come to whether a movie's good or not, and I do think that stems from, ironically enough, people having in real time accepting that other people feel differently about the film that they do. So instead of just accepting that, they have to be like, no, actually, you're wrong for liking that film because I put it into the movie equation and it's clearly a bad film. Or the opposite, like you're clearly just too stupid to understand the film because as you see in the equation, X equals 5 stars or whatever. Which is dumb, which is silly. In general, I think you technically can like do a number system. I don't like to do it either. But you could, like, again, just it's all subjective anyway. But if you're rating it based on how a film best executes its goals, I mean, for sure, you're gonna have weird films have different ratings, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Mad Max is a 9, and like, I don't know, some other film, maybe they put Citizen Kane at like a 7 or an 8, and you're like, that's ridiculous. How can that be? Well, it's like, well, maybe if you break it down, they feel that, you know, what Mad Max as a film is attempting to accomplish is accomplished unbelievably well, nearly flawless, and whereas Citizen Kane, despite it being praised, you know, what it's attempting to achieve isn't done as well. So I'm not saying, I don't think it's the most ridiculous thing in the world, but I do think it's a crutch that a lot of people just rely on. They'll just open up Rotten Tomatoes and see a number and then be like, okay. And then just, that's it. So yeah,
I also just can't look at Rotten Tomatoes the same way anymore after the whole like MCU of it all. And I'm like, so many of those films did not deserve to have those high ratings. And again, people just conflate it. It's like they think a 90 is like a A plus, and I'm like, that's just the amount of critics who were like, they gave it a favorable enough review. Anyway, here's the clip from Roger Ebert.
It's clear. So if you're standing there in a multiplex and you've got your $9 or $10 in your hand, you're saying that you should go see The Longest Yard or The Honeymooners before you should go see War of the Worlds.
I'm saying, well, how many times do I have to explain to you that ratings are relative, not absolute?
You know, I understand it. I'm just saying.
I'm saying that if E.T. gets 4 stars and Close Encounters gets 4 stars, this gets 2 stars.
And Longest Yard gets thumbs up, and this gets thumbs down.
Well, you know, oddly enough, no. It doesn't work that way.
But how does it not work that way?
Because people should be smart enough to listen to what we say instead of looking at the dumb thumbs and the dumb stars, because there are gradations and contexts that go on.
All right, but you're giving this movie thumbs down.
I am.
Okay.
And if you want to read my review in the paper or hear what I said here, you'll understand why.
I look forward to reading more.
And if you go look at Minority Report, you'll see that this is half the movie that was.
And it's
That was an old review of War of the Worlds from 2005. I believe this is when Roger was losing his ability to speak, unfortunately. You can kind of hear it there, but like one of his final years that he was able to speak and do a review. But the point there is just like his colleague at that point, Richard Roper, was just like, well, how can you say when you gave this other film this, review and that review, like how can you... It's all relative. It's all subjective, right? As we've said. Mm-hmm. However... that would, I think, make some people think that it's not fair to grade on people's past work. I mean, it's fair when we talk about people that work in the industry and we take a look at what their work has been. For example, David Koepp and his work as a screenwriter, or Chris Terrio, J.J. Abrams. I think it's perfectly fair. Like if you look at a director or an artist's track record, and if you can tell that you've gelled with them, it's pretty fair. You might have some conclusions that you might, enjoy what they're going to make next. Or if you don't, then, which is what we kind of bring up here a lot, and we have for the last 10 years. It's like, well, this guy did this, this, and that. Maybe he can pull it out, but there's a lot of reasons for why a lot of the films that are announced, we kind of say are dead on arrival. Like, for instance, Toy Story 5, as we keep kind of moving around, but I saw a clip today where Grace Randolph was like, how amazing that Bob Iger came back and he rushed Toy Story 5. What an amazing idea, and look at all this money he's making. And I'm just like, well, I mean, we've been saying this for years and years and years. Yeah, Bob Iger came back at the exact same time in which this movie was kind of sped up the process because they needed to make money fast. And the whole idea is, the whole reason why these movies even exist is because Bob Iger came back and needed to make money fast. And I do feel that the lack of passion for these movies by and large suggests that we were correct all the time. Anyway, long tangent. Peter, you and I and David here have not seen Toy Story 5. I don't know if we probably will see it. We're going to have our thoughts on it. I just told you what Kyle thought. He apparently thought it was better than 4, which, well, I mean, I've been saying for a long time, most people are going to feel that way. And from what I've been seeing and reading, most people do, in fact, feel that way.
Maybe most people are correct.
Well, I would say most people are hypocrites, because a lot of those people are all of a sudden saying, you know what? I wouldn't mind a Toy Story 6. So they can go fuck themselves if you ask me.
Well, at this point,
what happened to all the bitching and whining and moaning that I know?
It's no longer sacred. It's
yeah.
You think I give a shit about whatever they make with Star Wars now?
Well,
that's a
great
the
segue.
Max Rebo movie. Do it. Who gives a shit? Make that Yoda spin-off.
I'd watch that. I'd watch the Max Rebo movie. Why not?
Unironically, I would watch a Rock Band Star Wars film. You kidding me? Fucking do it. It's no longer sacred.
Well, Peter, I love that you just came to the rescue to get us out of that tangent, because sometimes I do need that help, because I kind of do.
Believe me, I know. And the comments understand as well.
Yes, but speaking of what you were just saying about Star Wars, I do feel last week David and I were talking about how kind of an embarrassment it was that Obsession and Backrooms tag teamed and really clobbered Mandalorian out of the consciousness. I just saw this week that in San Diego County, it was San Diego City, there was one theater that had reduced the movie to a single showtime a day. I do believe it's only been in theaters for 1 month. We're talking about a Star Wars movie. Like, the pitiful performance that this film is doing. I'm going to give you context that was just released today. Out of the, I don't even know how many there are at this point, 10 or 11 or 12, but of all the Star Wars films, you know what a Star Wars movie should do? Force Awakens did $2 billion. Last Jedi did $1.3 billion. Rise of Skywalker did $1 billion. Previously, the lowest grossing movie of the entire cinematic universe was Solo, $393 worldwide, which at the time was like, whoa, this is one of the biggest bombs in the history of Hollywood. Mandalorian's lower than that at $329 million worldwide. This is a pretty, I think for us, unsurprising and expected, but for a lot of people, I'm sure, shocked fall from grace. Remember that when Episode 9 came out and everybody was like, oh my God, Mando is the best thing since the Return of the Jedi. It is the future of Star Wars. Now here we are all these years later, a Mando movie came out and no one cares. Peter, your thoughts on all this, which I'm sure like you knew this was going to happen.
Yeah, it's unsurprising. It was a nothing film. Everything that we thought it was going to be, it's exactly what it was. Here's the thing. Do you want to know why these franchises are dying? Because they are not allowed to go away. If you look at all these big franchises, they used to have massive, massive lulls where effectively they were done. And that was it. Mm-hmm. You know, they'd have their trilogy and then they would go away for well over a decade. No TV show, no this, no that. Maybe the kids get a cartoon here and there. I don't know. But they would stop. They would stop making them. They don't do that anymore. Star Wars cannot exist, and we've said this a bajillion times, as this massive universe with a movie every year. It worked best when they cranked out a trilogy and then, hey, see you next generation. That's why they were special, because they were effectively in that way. It's no longer special. They've run it into the ground. And again, I don't even think it's bad films, which I mean, yeah. Of course that does exist.
And embarrassing TV shows. Ahsoka, Book of Boba Fett were downright embarrassing.
They're just wringing it dry. They did the same thing with Marvel, where they got way too fucking greedy. They already had the whole goddamn restaurant to themselves, but they just couldn't stop. And they just did 50 TV shows and 50 movies, and it was too much. It was too much. They didn't allow just a generation to kind of just sit with them and kind of move on and forget a little bit. And then you allow that nostalgia to kick in. And then when they come back, it's a big deal. And you can build something again from there. And I think it's mostly that things just aren't allowed to end, even if for a little while.
Remember the tagline when Disney Plus launched, Peter, where the story never ends?
Oh my God. Yeah, the story doesn't have to end. It can just keep going and going and going.
Which is the whole Disney company mantra.
They have to continue to wring it dry, and it's bad.
I mean,
yeah,
that's
but
why
unsurprising.
People were so upset about Toy Story 3 getting a sequel because the ending was so perfect. I think a lot more people would even say, well, after 4, where the fuck do you have to go? And then, of course, what happens? The sequel comes out, and I guess no one cares about that anymore. But there is no value in endings. I mean, Doomsday is the film we're getting this year. I feel like, in theory, a movie like Doomsday with the people attached to it and are starring in it could work very well if it, I don't know, maybe in 10 years from now or 5 years from now. It's just way too soon. And Peter, this is going to be an instance where I give you a lot of credit here. Because, and you might enjoy this, and I know David maybe has no memory of this, but because he wasn't with us regularly in those days, but this is where I really have to like eat a really big piece of like loser cake, because one of the worst takes I've ever had, one of the best takes Peter has ever had, was in regards to what we're talking about just now when it comes to Star Wars, because I recall fighting him very passionately, like, what the fuck are you talking about? When we were discussing Rogue One, and then also discussing future potential Star Wars films, So this would have been about 10 years ago, right? Because Rogue One's going to turn 10 years old this year. And I remember that I was just like so in the Star Wars juice, loving every little thing that was coming out. But then Peter, at that point, always offering, I think what I would think at that point was a contrarian point of view, but very much correct point of view. Because even then he was saying, well, look, I love Star Wars, but this is a big but. I don't like the idea that they're making so many new Star Wars projects that it doesn't make Star Wars feel special enough anymore. And I, quite frankly, was way too naive to really comprehend what the hell Peter was talking about. He may as well even been speaking another language to me. I couldn't quite comprehend what that meant. Because to me, I'm like, what are you talking about? I've loved Star Wars all my life. I still love it. I love most of what they're doing. How could there ever be a time where Star Wars wouldn't be special? I stand corrected. Look where we are right now. I do not care about Star Wars really. As a whole, it doesn't exist to me anymore. This new movie doesn't exist to me. There's a new Star Wars movie out and I don't care. And most people, based on these numbers, do not care. History, once again, has proven Peter 100% correct. And I couldn't believe how correct he was and how quickly it's only been a matter of 10 years. But in that short span of time, Disney completely run this into the ground, and it now just makes it look pointless and meaningless. And at some point, people have to reckon with that. Like, how can we call Bob Iger's leadership an amazing, legendary run at Disney when you bought a whole bunch of things and all you've done is, you've made a whole shitload of money, but as a whole, you've devalued everything. You've devalued Star Wars. You've devalued Marvel, Pixar. It's like, congratulations, Bob Iger. You've made all this money. And some of those movies were quite good. But on the whole, what did it all mean? What an unbelievably embarrassing failure that you get a second chance to rehabilitate Star Wars, and in 10 years' time, you've destroyed it beyond repair. And I'll tell you this, I've not really given myself the space to really like come to terms with that because it is quite depressing. There are plenty of other depressing things to be preoccupied with, but this in and of itself is just like, how do you mess this up? Mm-hmm. How did you fuck this up? And by the way, that might lead people to think that, oh yeah, they're all crap. No, there are wonderful movies in there. Last Jedi, Andor is maybe one of the best things I've ever done. I mean, there's plenty of great individual stories. But as a whole, when you get to the point where the brand is like so embarrassing, no one even cares to watch that movie. Stick a fork in it.
Yeah.
Anyway, transitioning now over to where we're going to be. I do want to say, I wanted to move on to Obsession and to Backrooms because that's going to create a nice segue into the success of those movies. But Peter, I do want to ask you a question here about where do you feel we are at with James Gunn's DC universe? Because part of me has completely blocked it out because of the despicable and disgusting merger happening with Megamount, David Allison absorbing Warner Brothers, the disgusting evil fucking people that have allowed it to happen who are going to profit from it, this disgusting pedophile president that's basically allowed this to exist, and all the useless, corrupt, pussy Democrats that don't sue and do nothing about the fact to block this merger and therefore helping it happen. And the fact that David Allison through Barry Weiss has already kind of destroyed CBS, they're being very serious about the fact that they're going to conservative MAGA propaganda talking points all over the place. I have not allowed myself, for the sake of my own sanity, to even think about what could happen to James Gunn's DCU with all of this lingering in the background. I don't know what he thinks personally. I do not know anymore if there's even a future to be had with these fucking criminals coming in here to destroy it. But I know for a fact that he's filming Man of Tomorrow. Is that what it's called? The Superman sequel. It's gonna get made. It's gonna get released. Mm-hmm. At least that's happening, and I can look forward to that. Hopefully, Batman 2 can get done, even though that's not even James Gunn's like DC or whatever.
Film it.
Right. please, they're filming, right? They have to be filming now. I'm sure they're filming. Please, God, tell me they're filming. I need this. Tell me they're filming, because this would be ridiculous if they're not filming. The point is, I don't know if you've thought about it, if you've given it any thought. I don't know what future there is, but that's a huge question mark lingering with, there's 2 movies happening this year, which is Supergirl and Clayface. Supergirl early reactions are back. Funko critics are not loving it. A lot of them say they liked it. A lot of them say it was okay. It was fine. I'm getting a lot of red flags. Peter, David, your thoughts?
Peter. I mean,
I guess you want to go.
I don't have much thoughts on it. I don't care much about other reviews until I watch it myself and all that. But then also too, it's like for a lot of them, it's like, well, what's your what's the thing that's skewing your review about it? Because for one thing, it's like there's people who, yes, they love it, but it's like, okay, but you probably loved every other movie that's come out this year and all that. So it's like,
Funko critics. That's what we're talking about. That's them.
So it doesn't mean anything much. And then it's like, okay, you hate it. It's like, okay, but do you hate it because of all the things Millie Alcock is saying in her interviews and all that? Like,
so
they're doing like a Rachel Zegler
thing. Go broke crowd, the MAGA critics.
Yeah, and so it, and then people were saying like it's fine. It's like, okay, those are probably the only trustworthy ones, because it's like, there's probably no angle to what they're saying and all that. They're just saying that it's fine. So I don't know. Until I see it, I don't really care what others think.
We will say that last week, David, you and I discussed about how its box office projections do not look very good at all, especially when it's sandwiched in between all this hoopla. I even saw somebody saying that Toy Story 5 may still be number 1 this weekend. Like, its second weekend, that the drop might not be that big, because, of course, it's a huge movie, that Supergirl opens in second place, which... I mean, there have been plenty of successful films that have done that in the past when they're up against a huge behemoth like Toy Story 5, so maybe we shouldn't read too much into that, but it's not a great headline. I mean, the director is the director. Maybe they should have gotten a better director. I'm unsure. All I'll just tell you is the marketing has not made me feel like it's bad, but it hasn't really gotten me excited about the movie. And some of the things I will share, there have been quite a number of reviews, some from Funko critics, some from not, that have seen the movie and have said that the best part about it is when David Cornsmith comes in for his cameo, which is not amazing news. Peter.
No, I've always said this. If, as he said, Funko critics, if their first response is that the film is literally the greatest film ever made, it's fantastic,
which is quite often
the greatest thing ever, maybe there's a chance maybe they're right, maybe it's okay. It can possibly lean positive. If the Funko critics are mixed, massive warning sign. Out of the gate, massive warning sign that it's gonna be bad. That's just because they're so primed to just love anything and everything in front of them. So I mean, yeah, it's not a great sign. Have not seen it yet, but not a great sign.
Well, at least there's Clayface coming. I mean, I don't want to declare it a failure just yet. We haven't seen the film. I mean, I hope to enjoy it myself. But I just bring it up just for the sake of conversation. But Peter, this kind of reminds me of something you brought up yourself too, and I think that I alluded to earlier on in the podcast, which was a little bit of a recalibration in the way that studios are kind of like picking and choosing which people to see the movie first and which people to have their reactions out first. Because for many, many, many years now, we've been saying, yes, the Funko critics come first and their early reactions. And a lot of the times it happens where they have glowing, unbelievably positive things to say. And as more real established critics drop their reactions, that those positivities come crashing down. It happens so many times. Sometimes it is warranted when you do have a universally loved film like Project Hail Mary. Sure, that could be one of them, for instance. But one of the things that we've been noticing is that studios have been relying far more on paid influencers, which is yet another step in the wrong direction. Personally, it's gone beyond just the Funko critics who they don't have to pay and they can be relied on for a positive review. That's the normal but now we actually have paid shills. You know, that's an old term that we were talking a lot about 10 years ago. That's actually happening now with fucking influencers being invited. And we've seen even political campaigns use this where they've just paid them to say whatever. And now it's coming to a point where you yourself were talking about that, you know, it would be nice if there was a mechanism in place that could get those people to be held accountable for their initial reactions, because a lot of the times, as we've been saying, it's just not, I think, a true representation, right? Is that what you were saying, that you got into a point yourself where you've been so annoyed with how glowing and overwhelming the initial wave is? Like, okay, it's.
Well,
do you
my
really
whole
feel
thing
this way?
is no. Well, my whole thing is, there's a lot of people. They just paid to be cheerleaders. And that's their job, and that's it. And I guess I have a lot of respect for critics in general. And it's a art form that just doesn't exist anymore, not in the same way it used to, because why would you, as a studio, ever entertain actual critics when you can just get whores and cheerleaders, you know, to just sell your product? But there's like no mechanism to just like kind of hold them to some of their opinions and be like, hey, remember when you came out of The Flash saying how great it was? And it made you feel like a kid again, and this was great and that was great, and to go see the film. What are your thoughts on the film now? You know? You still feel that way? And if not, what fucking changed? And it's like, oh, and after they explain, it's like, well, here's 50 other films in a very similar situation that, interestingly, the first time you see it, you got a lot of glowing shit to say. But now it seems like, you know, you might be walking back some of those glowing reviews. So what the fuck, you know? I do think there has to be some kind of mechanism to just kind of look at these people and being like, a little bit of holding their feet to the fire, I guess.
I would love that, but unfortunately we live in an everlasting hellscape in which we have a film press that is always obsessed with the wrong talking points, the wrong storylines, the wrong takeaways. Remember how we spent months punishing Timothée Chalamet for having an opinion about ballet, and how like he definitely deserved getting flamed like that. And I mean, even now, there's a general, I feel kind of vapid conversation, although I think it is a valuable conversation about, you know, with the rise of obsession and with backrooms. There's been a lot of emphasis about like the rise of Gen Z. One thing that I wanted to point out that we had said last time, David, is that it's been rather unanimous now that boomers have not returned to theaters as a whole, really, after COVID, and Gen Z are the people who are kind of holding up movie theaters and going to these big movies. And with that, we had the success of Backrooms and Obsession, which were, you know, helmed by two very young directors. And the media is making a big story out of it in the idea that the future is here, the future is now. Let's go ask these guys and see what they think. What does Gen Z really want as far as movies? And a lot of people would say, oh, they want more original concepts. They're tired of the same old franchises. I mean, yeah, Peter just said people are tired of a lot of the same old franchises because studios refuse to let them die. They just keep rebooting and rebooting and rebooting. I would argue that I'm annoyed when people say that because, I mean, Moana is going to come out in 2 weeks. Some people are saying that it's going to underperform. I'll see it when I believe it. It's just it's a copycat fucking movie. It is a gross, disgusting, evil piece of shit. And people are gonna go to it, and I feel it'll easily make $1 billion. And that's where the whole thing just kind of like goes out the window. It's like you can't say in one breath that, oh, Gen Z wants more original films, when, number one, some of the Disney IP still sells, unfortunately. And then my other thing is, well, I don't know what original movies, aside from just these two, that like Obsession and Backrooms that Gen Z has gone into for the most part, but they still really show up for IP crap. Like, it's just their IP, like Mario or Sonic or Minecraft. That's their IP. It's still IP. So I don't see if this is something that's that much of a radical change. But I do see some merit in the idea that they're more interested in some things, but I don't know. Dave, Peter, you have a long history on this podcast for calling yourself Gen Z. I don't know if how do you feel about Gen Z these days? You have not called yourself part of Gen Z for quite a long time, and I have noted that you haven't really pointed that out since the 2024 election. I don't know why that would change your view, but I really am curious about what you think about the Gen Z generation, just generally, and then also as far as like their habits of movie going. Because I'm thankful they're showing up to movies, and at the same time, I'm kind of frightened for the kind of influence they could have in the kinds of movies being made. Or maybe I'm dumb for even feeling that way. You tell me.
You're not dumb. You're just old.
I mean, yes, but then again, you know you're not younger than me, really. You're about a year younger than I am, right? So you just called yourself old, just to be clear about that.
No, I called you old.
And in fact, you're not even the youngest person on this podcast.
Very different generations. Me and David, we just don't connect with you.
We all went to high school together, by the way. In case anybody's like questioning that, we all went to high school together. We were all in high school at the exact same time, so I don't see the point there.
I remember still being in high school, and then a few people, were graduated and well into adulthood, and,
For the record, Peter was born in 1996, so technically that does make him Gen Z.
Put my social security number out there.
I was born 1995, so that
4
makes me the very last of the millennials.
4. He's lying.
Are you kidding me right now? It's 95.
It's 4.
What the fuck do you know anyway about my birth date? The point that the question I was asking you is like, how do you feel about Gen Z these days? You haven't said in a long time that you're proud to be Gen Z. I wonder what's changed.
Nothing's changed.
Okay.
I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, Gen Z, like every other generation, I don't know. They have. My whole thing is this: it's not whether they're good or bad. I just think I'd prefer them to have their own shit.
Yeah.
I think it's bad when, and it's a sign of a fucking decaying society, at least socially, when we don't allow younger people to have their own spaces and music and films and television and
their own original stories.
Yes,
living in this vacuum of like endless reboots, sequels, prequels that are leftovers from their parents' generation, which is what it all is right now.
You can even connect it politically. I'm not conservative. I'm not trying to conserve a certain what do you call it? Not society, but a certain culture. I think the culture should always be moving. I think it's good when older people look at younger people and be like, I don't understand your music. I don't understand your whatever. It's like, yeah, good. Let them have their own shit, Let them break out from what they've known and explore new things. And you might not always get it or you might not always like it, but allow that ability, that very human ability to sort of explore. So things it's like, do I like the fact that the fucking Minecraft movie or the Super Mario? I like Mario. I grew up on Mario. The movie fucking sucks, but I like Mario. Am I happy that, or I think a more apt comparison would be like the fucking Minions. Am I happy that these movies make $1 bajillion? Not necessarily, I guess, but like that's fine. There's a lot of shit that millennials liked that, Gen X or even boomers looked at and like, what the fuck is this? This is stupid. This is this. This is that. We don't get it. That's fine. You're not supposed to get it. It's okay to be older and have your own shit. Like, there's nothing worse than when you're older and you're still trying to be cool, and cool as determined by whatever fucking high schoolers like. I think if you're well into adulthood and you're worried about the opinion of what a high schooler would be, your brain's kind of fucking broken, So yeah, like I like that within, Gen Z and even younger, because a lot of it's even younger than Gen Z, they're part of their culture is still film. They still love film. They're the ones mainly holding up film, and I think that's fantastic. And I like that they're watching films and movies that specifically connect to them and their understanding of the world and their upbringing. And something like Backrooms or Obsession with filmmakers of their age and demographic. I think that's cool. I think that's great. Everyone always talks about like Spielberg and Scorsese and this and that. Guess what? They were in their early 20s when they were making fucking classic
Mean
films.
Streets and Jaws. Yeah.
Yes. You need to Duel. Like, you need to allow I talk about it endlessly in politics. It's so goddamn irritating when you have these politicians that are fucking dinosaurs. They're dying with oxygen tanks and their wheelchairs, and they have dementia, but they were like, but I'm running for re-election.
Not even a joke. That's actually the truth, by the way. It's plenty of politicians that are just getting wheeled into the Capitol Hill.
It's not even an exaggeration, and it's like, why is it so hard to just be like, I had my time?
The president falls asleep every day on camera during press conferences. I mean,
he's 80. This thing of like, why is it so bad to just be like, I had my time, now my time is over, I can sit back, chill, let me retire with all the millions I've made in insider trading, and let the next generation see if they can do better. That seems like an impossibility for some of these fucking people. So no, yeah, I don't have any like or dislike higher or lower than any general other what do you call it? Generation. But if there's anything I like that, especially because we've been in an era of like nostalgia where it's just regurgitation after regurgitation after regurgitation. So it's like, yeah, let these people create their own anything, really.
I agree with that, Peter. I want to push back a little bit.
You said dude.
I wish that, yeah, because that's what I feel about Gen Z a little bit these days. I agree with the idea that they should be allowed the space to create their own stuff, just like the two directors did here with Obsession with Backrooms. I don't know if I have that much faith in that's exactly what they want to do here. I mean, the idea that Gen Z men particularly swung a really hard direction for this rapist pedophile president. The idea that when it comes to film conversation, they're very much puritanical, don't like, stories about like people who are messed up and think that it's promoting them, are actively saying that sex shouldn't be a part of movies, that why would it even be a part of any of this? The fact that
every generation has just stupid ideas.
Becoming far more religious. I'm like, I would love to sit here and say that I'm the old person in the room and I don't understand Gen Z if it wasn't for the fact that a lot of what they seem to like wasn't malicious out front on its face.
It's not, though. It's just not. Politically, they're some of the furthest left of any generation fucking ever. You want to talk about politics I'm surprised you haven't even brought up the elections that were happened today. In those kinds of election turnouts, those kinds of results would not exist without Gen Z. They just wouldn't. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Every generation has shit that you're not gonna fucking like. And I think a lot of stuff, I'll be honest, a lot of the issues that I myself could maybe tie to this specific demographic has more than anything to do with stuff that I think is kind of out of their control, like technology, like being raised on fucking cell phones and the internet, and the fact that the world is made in a way that people are forced to be more isolated, though technically more connected than ever before. Climate change, feeling of desperation, of no future. If you're of a certain age, the only political reality you've ever had is Donald Trump. This is just the way you view the world. So I don't know. A lot of it I just can't blame on them. It's just the time in which they were born.
I don't disagree with any of that, and I do want to just clarify, because I do feel like if you want to hate on a generation, well, obviously boomers are right there. Gen X, quite frankly, is right there, and they've been creating a lot of the horrible conditions for why, in a lot of ways that you just mentioned, Peter, Gen Z would be so fucked, and other generations as well. So yeah, I agree with you. I don't blame them. I don't feel that it's just old man yelling at the cloud when I see some really concerning and troubling things that are coming up on the pipeline. And granted, they're not it's out of their control, right? They were raised on cell phones, they were raised on the internet, that's how it is. But I don't think it's all good. I hope that it is. But I don't know. I see a lot of talk.
I think it's
behavior.
More good than not, considering the circumstances. The fact that Gen Z at all has such an interest in film and is keeping movie theaters alive, I think it's genuinely surprising, but I think it's a really great surprise.
I guess to me, I don't believe it yet. I don't believe that they actually are interested in film in the way that you and I know film, or in the way that they think film is. Because I think we have very different ideas of what movies are, quite frankly.
Like every generation, you're going to have people of that generation that likes more niche things, and they're very deep into the intricacies of it. And then you have others that are like, just see the most popular shit. It's like other generations. Some of them just like pop songs, the whatever's on the radio top 50, and then there's other people that are into niche bands and into the music and
look, ultimately
that's just human beings.
That's fine. People can like what they like. I guess to me what makes it just more dire is that we're living in a world in which there are so many things that are quite at risk of being extinguished due to the conservative MAGA movement, that are just like, anywhere there was a Democratic mayor in this state of California that was like, oh yeah, my budget, I'm going to cut the arts. What? It's like everywhere you look, we have megalomaniac politicians who are basically disrupting everything. And I just like, okay, they can make what they can like.
AI
I get that.
Company, OpenAI, I think it's open. I don't even fucking remember. Just invested massive amounts of money into A24 to look at ways to develop AI within film. Amazon was going to release a film by Luca Guadagnino, already fucking filmed, a band,
Sam Altman.
Fucking Sam Altman. They have business dealings with Mr. AI, so they dropped the film. Currently, no other studio was picking up the film. Could it possibly be because they also have ties to AI? Well, I'm no conspiracy theorist. The point is, the world is fucked in ways that, if you want to blame generations, it ain't.
No, it's not Gen Z.
It ain't Gen Z.
And they should be commended. You're right to bring up the elections. With LA hey, that could go in the right direction. They put up a Democratic, I guess, I don't know, left-leaning versus a corporate Dem. And then tonight we should congratulate Zoran Mamdani for continuing to win. A clean sweep for him. All of his candidates defeated corporate-backed candidates, APAC, some incumbents, some not, some APAC-backed candidates. So there is, I think, plenty of reason to be hopeful for, at least when it comes to that. But I just, I don't know. I'm old, so there's that. Anyway, shall we get on to these movies? Let's talk about Obsession, because that one is, in a lot of ways, the movie of the year. Peter, if you want to go on your phone and you want to pull up the Letterboxd description for the film while we talk about this movie, but like I feel like in a lot of ways, I think still Project Hail Mary in a lot of ways is like the movie of the year. That being said, there's been a lot of success at the box office this year. Michael made a lot of money. The Devil Wears Prada 2, I saw, made over $600 million worldwide. So much money. And Obsession, in a lot of ways, already is the movie of the summer, the movie of the year. People have been flocking to this. It's been out for so many weeks, and it's had terrific holds. It currently has a 4.1, speaking of ratings, on Letterboxd. So that's where we are. Peter.
Obsession, directed by Curry Barker. Be careful who you wish for. After breaking the mysterious one-wish willow to win his crush's heart, a hopeless romantic finds himself getting exactly what he asked for, but soon discovers that some desires come at a dark, sinister price. Starring Michael Johnston, Inde Navarrete, Cooper Tomlinson, and Megan Lawless, and of course, Andy Richter. Obsession. Has everyone here seen Obsession?
We've all seen it. Can I just read to you 3 popular user reviews? I've been doing this lately for movies. Megan Bickel says, awesome movie about how rapists should kill themselves. Okay. And then this one I think will speak to your heart, Peter. Abigail. Nobody take this in any way, but Bear looks exactly if Dave Franco and Charlie Kirk had a baby.
Oh my God. I just couldn't. So much of the film, it just took me out of it. He would turn and I just saw Charlie Kirk. It was insane. Especially like the way he would contort his face. Oh my God. I'm not crazy. It's yeah.
Your thoughts?
Oh, on the film?
Yeah.
I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was great. I think it was so well done. I think it was great performances. Good, tight little script. Really well directed. People, I think, are gonna try to I don't know if it's Indy or Inde, but get her. I think there's gonna be a push to get her an Oscar nom, just because people really seem to be loving her, specifically in her performance, and I completely get it. She does so good and so well.
I mean, from what I've seen this year, like she's really is the best actress so far of what I've seen in movies. So I wouldn't mind.
It's almost like horror should be respected.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's great film. It was, and this isn't a knock at the film, but it made me uneasy. Just feel very like visceral sadness.
Yep.
In a way, I don't usually feel with these kinds of horror films. Like I'll see people chopped to bits, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. Let me get some popcorn. But the way emotionally that they're able to get you to feel for some specific people in this situation, it can be kind of devastating.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's a fun repeat watch, but it is a great film, and I'm actually really happy with how successful it's been getting.
David.
I mean, I already gave my thoughts on a different episode, so.
Well, I'm sure Peter would like to hear them.
Okay. Well, yeah, I agree with everything you said. Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. I loved all the characters and actors in this. The biggest praise that I gave it, though, was the lighting. Its use of it was absolutely amazing from the moment he made the wish, and how Inde, that actress, was like always in shadow, always like in the silhouette.
Oh yeah,
form,
really well.
and just and then the way they
I love the second when he snaps it and it just that shot of her just standing outside her house. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, for sure. And then just anytime, her face is in shadow, sometimes the light, the eyes are like, there's like a tiny twinkle of a light on it, and you're just like, is that her? Is that the demon or something? Like, you were kind of questioning in the beginning, but then, as the movie went on, it's like, no, this is just all demon. And yeah, this is, like I said, from other movies I've seen, she is probably the best actress that I've seen so far this year. I mean, I can't really think of anything else. I mean, I'm sure someone in Odyssey is probably going to give a good performance, but the way I felt about this obsession, I mean, I don't think the Odyssey is going to give me that same feeling. And so, yeah, it's a great movie.
I'm really conflicted about this movie. I don't know if I loved it. I think it's a really good movie. I'll tell you, though, I agree with basically everything Peter said, and you, David, in the sense that it made me feel uneasy, and it was very effective. I thought the sound design particularly was very effective, and every time it was, getting to a moment where I was like, oh, here we go, I gotta brace myself. It was like, there was a particular moment of the movie where I'm like, is this really going to happen? And then Peter walks out of the theater and I'm like, okay, it's going to happen. And here I have to watch this awkward moment. It was about when they went to the friend's house for that party that he told them that didn't want her to be there. And yet he brought her there. And that's kind of what happens. And it was, Peter and I don't do well with awkward moments like that. So I wanted to run away, but I felt like I couldn't because Peter already did. So that was that fun, hilarious thing happened. I agree, David, that it was quite effective in how they kind of like had her in
shadow.
I guess you could say shadow. It's to me, I'm trying to think about like the moments where it like the cat thing. Yeah, like Peter called that. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. The one that I think got me was when I think Bear's waking up after very early in the movie, and then she's just standing in the corner.
Oh yeah,
and I'm like, fuck, I hate that one so much.
Yeah,
it's so good. Yeah, go ahead.
No, so yeah, the whole movie was just my anxiety was like through the roof, going like I have no idea what was gonna happen.
Yeah,
but then also this movie is just so good. I legitimately, I can never say that word. I legit had a dream about this movie of that actress.
No,
and I woke up. I was like, oh fuck, why did I dream of that?
No way.
What the hell? Yeah. Like I legit got a nightmare from this movie. I honestly never happened. I've seen Hereditary, didn't get a nightmare from that. All of the Conjuring movies and Insidious movies, like I never got a nightmare from that. This one actually did, and it actually like scared me to wake up. So I think that tells you
that's awful.
Yeah.
That's awful. So it definitely had an impact on you. I'm happy for you about that. Also, there's a particular moment where, let's just say, one of the characters gets basically executed or the brick to the face. That you kind of see it coming, and then it's just awful to see and everything. I think it's very effective. I guess to me it's like I did feel the anxiety all the way through. Can I ask both of you? Because I think we all have like various different. I think a lot of what this is going for. You could think about other movies, right? You said, David, that the anxiety was like you were just feeling it the entire way through. I'm curious. Did you feel that way about the Smile movies? Because those movies to me are like the ones where I felt like what you felt in this movie, where I was just like the anxiety and my heart was beating all the way through, and it was just like legitimately scared of what was going to come next. I don't think you. It sounds to me that Obsession did that more for you than Smile.
Yeah, for sure. Because like with other horror movies, like I do get scared, like on scenes and all that. But like it's just specific scenes where I'm like, okay, there's gonna be a jump scare here or something. With Obsession though, I don't think I ever guessed of a jump scare. I was just legitimately scared of like what the heck is she gonna do next, and how is like Bear gonna handle this situation and all that. Like the fact that they were at the restaurant in that in one scene, and I was just waiting for the moment for her to just not, do something evil or bad, just like anything that would get me, that if I was there would get me embarrassed. And that's what gave me the anxiety, because like because I mean, what was so great about this movie is just that there's nothing. It's kind of wrong word here, but like there's no horror going on here. It's just tiny embarrassing moments that you kind of just have to go along with, like I said, they were at the restaurant, and I was waiting for her to scream at him for something,
Yeah,
like that whole why won't you love me and all that. But instead we get the no, and that gives me anxiety, because like if I was in that situation, I would just be like, I don't know what to do here. And so it's very like realistic, I guess you can say, just bits of anxiety that this movie does. Unlike something like Conjuring 2, there was a moment where the main actress, she's like getting closer and closer to the painting of the nun that her husband made. And I remember watching that scene, I was just like, oh God, something's going to pop up. Something's going to pop up. Oh God, I don't know. And like, but that is just, I'm waiting for a jump scare. There's nothing, it's horror, but it's not raising my anxiety, I guess you could say, through the roof as Obsession did.
Yeah, my anxiety throughout the entire film was just predicated on like, okay, what embarrassing thing in public is she going to do? Because I just can't stand to see that. And I was waiting for it, and then when it happened, I'm like, fuck you, Peter, you left me for that. You knew what you were doing in that moment.
Well, yeah.
It's ridiculous. I think the cast was terrific. I quite liked Michael Johnson. I don't think I've seen him in anything else, but I think he made a good impression here, at least as an actor. But I would say one of the most despicable characters we've had in quite some time. Because part of the, I think, frustration of watching the film was just like, there are so many chances you could have just like taken an opportunity to like read people in on this and like maybe help you with this stuff. At every turn chose not to do that, and as Peter said to me, was just a coward from beginning, middle, and end. This whole thing happened because he couldn't tell her how he felt about her, and then at the very end he couldn't even do the deed because, like, of course he couldn't just like shoot himself. He had to like put pills, and even then he couldn't do that. A character that just does not grow at all throughout. Which, I mean, that's not a critique. That's just like, oh God, what a fuckable, complete, like, just like hateable character. Is it Indy or Inde? Indy Navarrete. It's Navarrete, but it's Indy, right?
I say
I'm not sure.
Nikki?
Inde?
What was it say?
Inde?
It's like Endy? Inde?
I say like
it's Indy. Oh, no, it's Indy. Let's see here. I have here on Letterboxd, it has like the phonetic letter. It says Indy. Indi. Like Indiana Jones. Indy.
Okay.
So Indy. Yeah, Indy. It's a Indy Navarrete. That's how it's pronounced. At least that's how Letterboxd. They give you the phonetic spelling right there.
Okay.
I mean, I thought she was very good. I hate to burst anybody's bubbles here. I don't feel like this is an Oscar performance. I'm going to tell you right now. This is not Toni Collette. This is not Naomi Scott. This is not Mia Goth. She's great. I don't know. A lot of the performance just came, like, I don't know. Maybe this is just me being old. I've seen this. She's great. I'm not that taken with her. She's really good. I
get it. Like I said, like out of all the performances so far that I've seen, this year, like she is the best one. But like I understand what you're saying, where you're just like, is this? Well, I was coming out of the theater going like, is this Oscar worthy? I want to say she should be nominated because she is one of the best ones so far. But like I'm also kind of like I feel I'm waiting for a movie to come out and be like to take her spot, basically, you know. And I really shouldn't feel that way. I should have come out going like she deserves an Oscar. I was like that with Frankenstein.
Yes,
the guy
Jacob Elordi.
Jacob Elordi. I was, you know, as soon as I saw that movie, I'm like, oh my gosh, please let him be nominated. Like he deserves this. He was fantastic. I wasn't like that with Indy. So like, I was just sort of like, she's the best for sure. If she gets nominated, that's awesome.
Look, it's all subjective, right? I do feel a lot of the people who do get nominated and then actually win, I'm like, really, that one? That kind? I mean, we just, by the way, I thought Amy Madigan was great in Weapons. I would not have given her the Oscar for that. I'm sorry. I mean, that was a bit like, okay, that's fun. She's fun, but like Amy Madigan, Academy Award winning performance in a horror film. But what did not get an award, probably this one, again, Mia Goth, Naomi Scott, Toni Collette. Like, there's plenty of other performers that like that's like a legendary like performance. But anyway, here's Amy Madigan as the funny clown or witch lady.
No, yeah, there's always a performance where you can come out of it going like she deserves an Oscar. This one I wasn't feeling it, but I'm also like I wouldn't be against it if she does get nominated because she did do a great job, especially with like, you know, just basically all the craziness that she goes through and all that, and especially
I agree that people, I think Peter's correct. People are going to be pushing for her to get a nomination just because of how many people have seen this movie, how many people have loved this movie. That they might be able to force her into the conversation, but we do have to remind ourselves it is a horror film. They still hardly ever award that, and even then, we don't even know what else is going to come out this year. I mean, a lot of those like heavy hitters are going to come out, I would say October, November, December. I don't know. We will see with that. Anyway, look, it's a fun horror film. It very much is. Is there anything else to say about this?
No.
If not, we can then move on to Backrooms. Peter, you want to go ahead and go on to that one?
Backrooms,
if you will.
Directed by Kane Parsons, who directed it when he was 20 years old.
And just turned 21 this month.
You are not supposed to be here. A strange doorway appears in the basement of a furniture showroom. That's it. I shit you not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 words. Okay. Starring Chiwetel Ejiofor, René de Redzepi, Marc Duplass,
Renata
Finn
Reinsva. God damn it, man.
and Lukita Machuel. Backrooms.
Maxwell?
Yes.
That's how you pronounce Maxwell?
Yeah,
Okay.
well,
Maxwell?
in American, yes. Have we all seen a Backroom?
Yes,
Yep.
we all have.
David, go ahead.
It was pretty good. I liked.
Awesome. Alexis?
Wait, what did you say?
I just said it's pretty good, and then he's like, "Okay, move on to the next person."
Yeah, it's pretty good. Peter?
I really liked it. I think I liked it more than the other two.
We didn't have complete thoughts on it. We just said it was pretty good.
Yeah, that tells me everything I need to know.
Mhm.
I really liked it. I really liked it. It's right up my alley.
You said you loved it last time I saw you.
Yes, and I maintain that. It's like genuinely like fucking cosmic horror. It's weird. It's fucked up. It's shot very interestingly. Great performances from two of the best actors out there doing it right now. It ramps up the weirdness in a way where that third act hits. It's like fucking crack. I don't know. It just has all the things that I really enjoy in these kinds of films, and it's really, really well executed. I really, really enjoyed it. This is a film I could rewatch many times.
Yeah, I should have mentioned, I don't know how rewatchable Obsession is for me personally, just in the terms of like, I don't know if I can put myself through that again. Not to knock it as far as rewatchability, but it's just like, I don't know. I certainly would not want to go back in the theater and watch that. I'm just like, doesn't mean it's bad, but that's just how Obsession is. This one is different. When I watch it again, yeah, it's more so just for me to be able to like see how certain choices feel on repeat viewing. Because I'm not quite sure if all the choices land for me, at least the way that they did for you. Like, I kind of get generally what it was going for and what it was doing, especially with the ending. But I guess to me, I didn't quite feel it 100% as far as like being, I guess, totally satisfied with it. Just
wait till Disclosure Day.
Well, I mean, you could say the exact same thing about Disclosure Day. I was actually no, for real, like no shit. As I was saying this, I'm like, wait a minute, which movie am I talking about? Because I'm sure some people would say the exact same thing about that one, which we're going to be getting to. I just didn't quite feel it for me. I did enjoy Chiwetel Ejiofor. I did enjoy Renata Reinsva. What I did love here was just the execution of the concept. And I did find that the liminal spaces of these backrooms were quite horrific for me. There was, I think, very memorable imagery that did very much just like scare me, sure, but I do think, like I mentioned to you, Peter and David, in separate conversations, there is some imagery here that I did find to be haunting. And that's, I think, where this works for me. As far as like the abstract nature and what it's going for, I can see it. I don't know if it really clicked for me. I don't know if I really care, ultimately. I liked the movie. I liked my time watching it. I don't know. That basic what I just said will be Peter's review of Disclosure Day. So just to keep you, he'll get me back for that one. David, go ahead.
No, yeah, I agree. I agree with you, Alexis. Like, I was enjoying the movie. I liked the backroom set of it, the horror of it. You know, that one was scaring me throughout the movie. But the ending of it was kind of what threw me off. The whole reveal, I guess, of like the true villain, the true monster, coming out, was kind of anticlimactic, and just the mystery of the back rooms. I didn't need an answer for it and all that. It's not really what I wanted, but what we got just felt kind of anticlimactic, really. So that's just kind of what threw me off. So yeah, it was a fun ride, but execution wise, just didn't work for me.
You're wrong, but that's okay.
I was gonna tell you, Peter. Tell us why we're both wrong.
No.
Then what are you gonna say?
No.
I would like to be wrong, Peter. So if you can convince me, please do.
You don't deserve the convincing. I mean, I don't know. I liked it. I guess you guys weren't specific in what didn't or didn't work for you. I think the third act, I don't know, it just fucking worked for me. I love the concept of the back rooms. I love the execution of the back rooms. I think the idea of something being within the back rooms could ruin the concept entirely, but I think they found the one concept that doesn't, but kind of expands on it on a very interesting way. I think it's always sort of nestled within the characters and their journeys and the way that they sort of perfectly dovetail in with the entity that is the Backrooms works brilliantly. Ideas of isolation and societal decay and sort of an unwillingness to move forward, which is something I've kind of already touched on within this very same podcast. I just think there's layers to it, and I think they're very well layered. And it's also actually fucking scary. So yeah, you're wrong. You're just fucking wrong.
I mean,
we did like all that stuff you mentioned, though. I mean, we just said that stuff worked. It's I don't know if there's a specific moment that didn't quite work, David. If I recall, just the ending itself didn't quite land, right?
Yeah, just the way Edgeford's character just goes completely bonkers.
Oh yeah, that choice you said threw you off. That you weren't quite if you bought it completely.
Yeah,
I think I can get around to buying it just based on like what other observations people have made, but I also was not quite expecting that turn, I guess you could say. Peter, you felt it was you were seeing it coming, or
I can understand how some people can feel that it was kind of abrupt, but I think they spent so much of that first film just hammering home what a goddamn loser he is.
They do. The first act.
That first act, like they extensively show his levels of just loserdom and selfishness, and again, in ways that aren't necessarily overt, you know. Right. I think both this and Obsession have that in common. Funny enough, that when you get to the third act, they kind of skip some vital middle stuff, but it doesn't. To me, I can very easily fill in those pieces, I guess.
Okay, can I just put it out there? What did the ending mean to you? I know you already told me in person, but what does the ending actually represent, and why do you feel it's so effective?
I think it's effective because it's not 100% clear. It is a little bit more feeling opaque, rather than concrete. Mm-hmm. Pun intended.
Again, which movie are you talking about? That I'm like, well, we're about to get into that one.
Well, I think my biggest confusion too is just the main actress of it. Like,
what about her? The accent, it was bad.
No, I'm just honestly like, what the heck was...
Wait a minute. What? The accent was bad? That was the part that stood out to you as bad? Was it a bad accent?
It was not an American accent, I'll tell you that.
I didn't notice the accent. But I just can't tell you what the heck her character arc is, what the whole point of even her character is. I really have trouble with that. So
I'd almost argue that the characters don't go through arcs. I'd argue the only arc is maybe acceptance of their inability to change.
I could see that.
Okay.
Because they don't change at all. And and I agree with the idea that they're not really meant to change. I do
which kind
like
of contrasts the Backrooms.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. What I like the most about what it's kind of getting at, and I'm just like, maybe I do need to rewatch it, but I'm just kind of like thinking in my mind. I like what you said, Peter, about the idea that at least maybe subtextually it's kind of like speaking to the idea that we're kind of trapped in this endless cycle of the same and we can't like advance or move forward with anything new, especially how this is what I was telling David. I did sense, and especially a lot of the imagery, a little bit of definitely a lot of bite, but a bit of weaponized nostalgia, because the one image that I can't escape was the freaking Christmas tree in the dark room. That to me felt very like, to me when that came on the screen, I was just like, what the fuck? And there was so many things going through my mind, and I'm like, that to me is one of a haunting image for various reasons, but one that I if there's one element that I can't stop thinking about in the movie and that I will remember it for, it's that image. It's that moment. And I don't know if I can adequately really put into words why I felt that way, but that's the sense, at least in part, what I think what Kane Parsons was getting at about this sense of weaponized nostalgia, that at least I'm reading from it. And you seem to feel at least similarly. Maybe you can put better into words where I couldn't.
No, yeah. I mean, think about it. Everything it's so just layered onto. It's very efficient and layered. The script, you know, he is an architect, or he fancies himself an architect, and he is also selling what do you call it? As a business, selling furniture. And the way that those weave into the concept of the back rooms works really well. But then also she is a therapist, and she's all about helping people move on and create a better future for themselves. She herself is not able to move on from her own past. It's something that follows her constantly everywhere. She carries with her that concrete from her childhood home, representation of that. Also, again, concrete, backrooms, floors. And it's just something she doesn't leave. You see her inability to connect with other human beings. Though it looks like she's successful, her life is empty.
Yeah.
Just beyond empty. And that final sort of dinner scene between where they're doing that forced therapy session between the two leads, and she kind of explodes. If anything, they both come to a sort of realization. He doesn't want to change, and she can't change anyone. She can't save anyone.
They're both failures.
And they're just sort of tied to who they are and the past of what they are. And the sort of ways you can also point to memory, and the way that memory reconstructs things in ways that aren't always the way that they were. They're half remembered in our memory, and the way that's kind of the way that the Backrooms itself works. I don't know. It's a lot of juicy stuff that works in that way.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What did you make?
I've only seen it once, so
right. One of the things that I threw out there, and I'm still making up my mind about it. I'm not quite sure. Did you feel that the reveal of the monster, I mean, thematically and what it's going for, I get it. I buy that. I like it. Visually, did you like it? Did part of me felt a little bit like, oh, that's it? I don't know if I like how that looks.
I do, because it's so goofy, and it's so just they put a tall, lanky man in blackface, and
that is blackface, isn't it?
Technically,
yes.
Wow. Okay.
And it's so goofy, and it's sort of it's similar to how it's one of the things you love horror. Even when it's bad, you can appreciate it. You look at these older like 80s films, and either you're in awe in the effects, or like the effects are kind of cheesy, but it's so cool that it's real. It's so cool that someone built a fucking rig of a fake arm, and then they cut it, and then they have like this motorized thing that's squirting out blood, and that realness to it just adds so much layers to it. And I like that they made this strange, fucked up costume of a backrooms pirate, and that really worked. And then it's not only those, but then the other people that are, people that they find within the backrooms, all of that was done seemingly practical as well, and it just looks so good and so unique and interesting and cool. I don't know. I dug it. I was into it.
Did someone give you a sleeping potion, Peter? Are you okay? You just, I don't know. It's like,
What do you think my response will be? Guess.
I don't know. It's my ass.
I think
Fuck
you
off.
would.
I don't know.
Anyway, David, have you changed your mind yet, or are you signing off?
No, I mean, I liked what you said about the characters themselves. I definitely need to rewatch it. Got me more interested in rewatching it, so I can maybe, focus in on those story beats. So,
as a Gen Zer, I have like more closeness to the concept of the backrooms. So,
okay. I'm happy for you. I don't know.
Thanks, Unc.
All right. Well, shall we commence with the slaughter?
Rev up those engines. Because we're talking about... M. Night Shyamalan's Disclosure Day. We deserve to know. A cybersecurity expert becomes a whistleblower to reveal secrets about aliens, putting him on the run from a corporation while a meteorologist experiences strange phenomena and joins forces with him to prove there's life beyond our knowledge. Starring Emily Weed, Josh O'Connor, Colin Girth, Coleman Domingo, Eve Hewson, and Wyatt Russell. Disclosure Day.
Some of these, I don't know how you do it, man. Some of these, it's ridiculous to me. A couple of things to start with the top here. That I think it should be very helpful for how this is going to go and how we feel. I have loved every Spielberg movie except for a handful of them, which include BFG, Ready Player One, Lost World, Jurassic Park. Always the second. I don't mean Jurassic Park. Okay, always.
A dinosaur tears through San Diego.
1941. And I have been a huge proponent of late stage Spielberg, as has David. Although I'm not sure we quite felt the same way about it. I mean, I've loved all of the recent movies. I think Lincoln's amazing, as well as Picture of Spies, as well as The Post. I have to say that because he will say, some people will say that they're awful, and we'll hear that right now. But and West Side Story and Fablements are amazing as well. David feels the same way. Although
you don't have to speak for David. He's right.
Well, I'm speaking for all three of us. We need to get a lot of shit out of the way with. Okay, so if you don't mind, shut the fuck up. Okay, adding to that addendum, Peter has not loved a Spielberg film in quite a long time. I don't even know the last time he loved a Spielberg movie, much less liked one. So and as far as we've been podcasting, I'm not sure he's really liked any of them that have come out. So that should give some context there. What I was going to say is, as far as how we land on this movie, this will be curious, because I think this one, I felt it immensely. I was quite moved by it, still continue to think about this one. There's a lot of imagery, a lot of what it's going for and talking about and suggesting that I just really kind of vibed with. David, you were far more subdued. I believe you were kind of really in the middle of it, not hating it, not loving it. So that's just kind of like bringing us up to speed as far as where we are. Peter, you and I watched this. It's very interesting how it's been talked about, the ideas that it's going for. You surprised me because you said that you kind of surprisingly didn't automatically hate this. I was really expecting you to just like, yeah, this is the worst piece of shit ever. But there were some aspects of the movie that were kind of making you kind of like think and running over and over again. I will say at the top, I thought Steven Spielberg guess, surprise, surprise, the Spielberg bitch says that he made a great movie and it's amazing. Well, I really responded to a lot of what was in here, especially with the idea that God damn it, could there ever be a moment in time again where empathy could win and where, the world could collectively no, the answer is no. But wouldn't it be cool if there was? I think ultimately is like, if you vibe with it, if you feel it all the way through, I think that's something that's going to be determinant on how it works well for you. I wouldn't say, as some have, that it means that you have the capacity for empathy or not. Again, the discourse here is quite absurd, whichever way you want to look at it. I love aliens. I don't know. This is a subject that we've talked about like for a long, long time. But when it comes to alien movies, I just have like this. I don't know if it's like a magnet. I'm a magnet, or they're a magnet to me. I don't know what it is, but it's not quite how it works. I love the performances. I particularly will say that I really loved Emily Blunt. I'm doubtful anybody else here would say that, because apparently nobody else could even remember that she gave a performance this year. So I guess there goes that. So yeah, this is gonna be interesting to see how it grows as far as my estimation is concerned. But yeah, I could go on more, but I already did that last week. Anyway, we're here for the main event, which is Peter. Tell us all the ways in which this doesn't work and why it isn't all that great.
David, your opinion.
Yeah, I found it to be okay. I did enjoy, a lot of the action of it. I enjoyed Emily Blunt and what's his name? The other guy?
Josh O'Connor.
Josh O'Connor's character and their connection to themselves and the aliens. And just the whole idea of it, what Alexa said, like of empathy winning overall, and to have humanity
Did it though?
have humanity take a chance, like I said, take a leap of faith in listening and taking a chance to listen to others and all that. But overall there was just some points that in terms of so Emily Blunt and Josh O'Connor's characters together was great. Separate though, I had some problems with it, and so that's kind of what threw me off a bit in the movie. So yeah.
So what I said basically.
Mm-hmm.
In case I don't know why someone would think that I'm misrepresenting what but
Jesus
I mean but that's not the point. The point is I told you how he felt about it because we had already a discussion about it.
Well, why even have him on the podcast then? Just
no, that isn't the point. But I didn't like the way that you asked him, as if like I was misrepresenting what he was saying. It was kind of what I told you it was. Go ahead.
I mean, you were kind of misrepresenting it, but okay. So, Disclosure
really?
Day.
Seriously?
Disclosure Day.
Do you feel that way, David?
No.
Closure.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Hey, that's gonna be cut out of the podcast.
Well, you're not the editor.
We're gonna cut that.
You're not the editor. David's the editor right there.
David, cut that part. It was. I have given a lot of thought to this film.
You really have. In fairness, you have.
Earnest thought.
Yeah. So why doesn't it work?
Because a lot of it, I'll be honest, didn't work for me, but it didn't work in ways where I'm like, I feel like I'm missing something. There's got to be something here or an angle I'm not fully understanding. Or even if it doesn't work, maybe it would make more sense to me for why it doesn't work. And I'll just name some of the things. Well, first off, here's a criticism that unfortunately I just kind of agree with. Like, yeah, like 2/3 of the film play like a simply fine, like early 2010s thriller film. it's just not impressive. I'm sorry. From the action to the tension or thrills, so much of it, I just kind of came away going like, that was fine. I don't know. I just didn't care for it. Every once in a while, you'll get a Spielberg flair visually, the way he's moving the camera, utilizing those screens and mirrors.
Mm-hmm.
But it was too few and far between. Overall, fine. There's a section where we're talking about like, well, what is this film kind of going for? Where Colin Firth and Coleman Domingo are kind of going back and forth, and Coleman Domingo goes into this whole speech and diatribe about how it is not right to keep this information from the people. The people are starved for the truth. They feel it in their bones and in their skin and every inch of themselves that they are being lied to, and they just want the truth. This is just it. I would go so far to say it's not even an opinion. It's just factually false. I cannot connect with that kind of motivation because it is completely untrue. People do not want the truth. They just don't. They want preconceived ideas that fit perfectly into their already existent narrative of the world. And if you were to say that aliens existed tomorrow, 99% of people would just incorporate that fact into their already previously held beliefs of the world. They would not change them. It would do nothing, basically. So I just don't... It's hard to jive with that. So much of the film is kind of like... just kind of lingo, just being like, oh... First of all, it's a mystery about, like, what's going on? I don't know what's happening. Everything about this film is just getting to this moment in the cabin where they figure out what happened. This great mystery. What happened? Well, we know what happened. They got fucking abducted. Okay. And it's like, yeah, I kind of figured, yeah, it's probably the aliens being like, we're going to speak through you to the human race. Got it. Like 5 minutes into the movie. Got it. You could tell that this movie exists because Spielberg, that last like 10 minutes where the day of disclosure genuinely happens, that's the moment that made him go like, I'm gonna make this fucking movie. What would it be like in that moment when the floodgates open and this is finally exposed? And he really goes all in on that. And it is a great sequence of events that happen. Top notch Spielberg. But like in service of what though? And I don't know. Originally, it's like a lot of people talk about the film like, oh, Spielberg made a movie about how would the world react if aliens really did exist. That would, I don't know, because he didn't make that movie. That's not what this movie's about. Because we don't see how people react to the existence of aliens. Not really. There's this, I would say, borderline childish subplot about now that aliens exist, does Jesus too? And then it's very quickly resolved because the nun's like, actually, if you read passage so and so, yeah, our aliens could be real. And it's like, okay, cool. I don't know. It's at best in my standing kind of mediocre. Who knows though? Maybe I'll be thinking about it one day, and then some connections that should have existed from the beginning, all of a sudden discovered, and I changed drastically. I told Mr. Soto himself that I've actually grown to appreciate something like The Fabelmans even more than when I originally saw it. And that's pretty neat. That's pretty cool. I would love if something similar to that were to happen with Disclosure Day. But as of now, it's like kind of an interesting experiment. Yeah.
A lot of places to really kind of start with, just in general, and just keep in mind, I'm not really speaking to you, I'm just speaking past you, just to the ether in this way. It's rather irritating to me, the idea that we'll begin with the Fablemans, and we have all these people that are saying, you know what, that was a really good movie. And I'm just like, why did it take you 3.5 fucking years to realize that? And again, I'm not talking to you, Peter. I'm talking to past you. Is that, isn't it curious how all these people want to say all of a sudden, well, I don't know about that. I mean, you go back and pull up the review. Your opening thoughts were quite pessimistic, kind of like what you just said right now. As far as the attitude toward the movie is concerned, and as far as like when it would be brought back up for conversation, I mean, I recall, by the way, you yourself were quite like, when the Fablemans won Best Picture at the Golden Globes, you're like, I can't believe, fuck this award season. They're gonna go for the obvious pick again and again and again.
And thank God they didn't.
And it didn't go that way. Because that was the last time that movie mattered. As far as like, I guess awards, if you want to put it that way, but. I mean, like, I don't know. I find it so annoying that, people want to jump on a bandwagon. I mean, The Fablemans is great. Yeah, bitch, it always was. It's an amazing movie.
It's not a bandwagon. It's a genuine evolution.
Yeah, okay, great. I mean, I just remember so many people, yourself included, walked out of it that just, I don't get it. I didn't feel it. And I'm like, okay. Great. I mean, I guess I should be happy that people are coming around to it, but at the same time, like, why would I be happy? Like, people fucking ignored it and trashed it when it came out. Like, 0-7, there was a perfect, wonderful opportunity to give him fucking Best Director, hell, maybe even Best Picture, but no, we couldn't have that conversation.
What does this have to do with Disclosure Day?
I'm sorry. Fablemans has so much to do with Disclosure Day. So much of what the film is in concept, how it's executed, has a lot to do with Spielberg actually making that movie and going through the process of literally recreating his childhood, seeing his mom and dad again in the form of like the two actors. Like, so much of the DNA of Fablemans is in Disclosure Day. That's why it's brought up. And I mean, you brought up Fablemans, not I. Just to be clear about that. So I want to respond that and put that to bed. I think it's perfectly fine that this is a divisive movie. I can live with that. Because I just feel like that's what it is. The script and the screenplay and the ideas, like what you were saying, Peter, they're either going to work for you or they don't. I do feel like ultimately, I think it's kind of absurd and ridiculous to call this a generic 2010s movie. The idea that train scene did nothing for you, cool.
Oh my God.
I thought that was phenomenal.
Phenomenal?
Yes, it was. It absolutely was. As was the rest of the movie. There is a sequence in here when Emily Blunt goes back into the house, and then we find out like, which, yeah, sure, I guess it's not that big of a surprise. It's not so much as far as what the revelation is, but like how it's presented on screen with images. That whole moment was like Spielberg magic. You felt nothing through that sequence. Okay, I don't understand it, and that's why I'm like, okay, this to me, based on what I'm hearing, based on what I'm reading, it all comes down to, do you feel it or do you don't? Because we can nitpick David Koepp's script. We can criticize it for sure. But ultimately, the two main parts of the film that ultimately are going to be, it's that whole memory sequence and then toward the actual disclosure at the end. Did you vibe with it? Did you feel it? I can see a lot of people saying, you know what? I see what it's going for. I couldn't quite get there. I don't believe it. I don't buy it. And even if I'm not gonna like, throw my suspension of disbelief out the window, the film didn't do a good enough job of making me get there. I see it, I respect it, that's totally fine. But I would be lying to you if I said that this didn't make me feel absolutely just full of joy and kind of like a return of like the magic of the movies as far as like what images can make me feel. Emily Blunt alone, just the looks she was giving as far as like the recollection and also just her empathic abilities. That, to me, a lot of what the script is asking her to do was a lot to do. And the way that she executes that, I mean, I'm sorry. It's an incredible performance. But I guess I'm alone in feeling that way. Because, again, nobody could remember that she even acted this year, apparently. And more to the point, I don't know why people think so very little of her. I mean, she's been so good for so long. I don't see why people were like automatically, oh my God, I couldn't believe Emily Blunt could be this good. I'm like, okay, that's great. Again, is this like the most amazing performance in the world? No, it's not. But it's a very moving performance. And ultimately, it got to a point where we're getting to the actual disclosure itself where I forgot I was even watching a movie. Like, forgive me, but it felt like a real moment.
This was a fantastic short film. I agree.
That I wanted to be a part of. And then to me, the whole kicker at the end with actually wheeling out the alien, like to me, that was just like being completely frozen, just like edge of my seat. Like, oh my God, I've always wanted to see something quite like this. But ultimately, when it comes down to the film, it is a plea, a leap of faith, if you will, about like, could anything ever again, and maybe should it be a unifying moment? I agree with you, Peter. I'm so pessimistic in terms of like what the world is, and ultimately, do I believe in my heart of hearts that any of what transpires here would be what it actually happens? No, obviously not. But that shouldn't mean that one can't find hope. One can't find a sense of beauty in what it was going for. And I think to me, the kind of like warped
and what it
way
was
of
going
looking
for,
at,
sure, the execution.
No, this is where I don't agree with you at all. I think the execution is perfect. That ending is perfect. And as far as like, to me, I think we've reached the cornball sense of like, how is it that a society that would react in the way that the people at least were frozen in disbelief and came together for that moment. Again, we don't really know how that played out after the fact. I think there's room there for you to kind of like work with and see where that would go. But it's a bit, I think, alarming to say that it is far more of a science fiction element, that empathy would be something that would unite people, could unite people. And yet here we are in real existence, and that's just not something that will ever happen. So as far as like pure, like escapist, boomer fantasy of what could happen, all rooted in the idea of like, could a higher intelligence or a higher form of being help, that deeply resonated with me. And I definitely bought Spielberg's hopium, boomer cheese. I love it. Give it to me 100 more times.
The issue is not the hopium. It's the execution.
I never really understood people's complaints about that. About wishing they would have seen the people's reactions to it. Because when I came into this movie, I was kind of like, oh, I wonder how he's gonna handle that situation of people's reactions to it. But when I got to the ending, I mean, I didn't walk out going, wish I would have seen more. It's like, no, I was perfectly satisfied ending it there because I was understanding what he was trying to do. Again, it's a leap of faith of, will you listen? Will you, believe, I guess you can say, in this situation when it comes, if it ever comes. And so I completely understood that part of it. I with the whole situation of the aliens and Jesus and all that. I don't know about child. What'd you say? Childish.
He called it childish.
Yeah, or take or something
Did
like
I?
that. You said childish take or
you called it.
situation.
You called it very childish.
I don't know about
Run the tape
that, but
back.
I did have problems with it, mainly just in the first conversation with Josh O'Connor and his girlfriend character, how she was just like, you know, this could be very affecting for religious people and all that. And he just doesn't have a response to that. I'm like, while she was giving her reasonings like why this could be affecting for people, with religious beliefs, in my mind, I was thinking of like 20 things that he could say back to her, and it just doesn't happen. I'm like, okay, I feel like this conversation could have gone on, but whatever. But I did like it how it came up in the end with Nun, and at least how that affected the girlfriend character. Um, and then I can understand, with all the action sequences, everything leading up to the reveal of like what happened to them as kids. The story does throw a lot at you to just go along with the ride, and just barely takes moments to sit with it. And I can understand why that can throw some people off.
Sure.
But overall, like I said, I enjoyed the ride. I got what he was trying to do in the end of it, and like I mentioned too, in last episode, I get why this wouldn't be top tier Spielberg for people. Like I said, top tier Spielberg, it always has to do with camera work and character. The character was a bit off for me right up until those two main characters met and all that. That was fun, but that was just like in the last 30 minutes. And then there was always good camera work going on here, but yeah.
Yeah, it's very for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just like Peter, what you were saying about the first 2/3. Like, I can understand pacing issues. I can understand like why that was even there. But I mean, as far as like what was there, I was quite riveted with a number of sequences that were in there. I mean, the whole Colin Firth diving in using the device, Emily Blunt being awakened and then using her abilities. I mean, the comic relief in that I thought was quite wonderful. I mean, I guess he didn't care much for the train sequence or the panic attack that happened after it, or the whole reawakening of like, facing her trauma and waking up, and it did absolutely nothing for you.
I guess
I'm sorry,
nothing.
I can't relate to that. I can't even believe
you have to.
Well, I'm not saying the other opposite of what we were saying either. I'm just saying it's like I wanted to just put that out there into the ether. It's like I think there are incredible moments all throughout the film, but I guess this is why I always say when it comes to a Spielberg film, we're never ever going to agree. And I will want to point out again, I don't think very many, if any, people, including Peter, by the way, that were saying after The Fabelmans came out, nobody was saying, "Oh, this is the top tier Spielberg." Funny how all of a sudden people are now coming around to that idea. And I will just tell you, I don't know what it is with Spielberg films per se, but I just in terms of the fragmented response that it got, I do think there are going to be always people that are going to be like, you know what, this film's like whatever, and that's cool, that's fine. But I do think that this film definitely has its fans, and I am at the very least happy that it's not a complete pile on. Because I do think there's plenty of beauty and wonder to be found in this film, but I guess as far as execution is concerned, we're not all in agreement, and that's okay. That is definitely okay. I think it's perfectly fine to have different opinions, and for there to be more movies where that are not all going to be, I guess, appreciated in the same way. To be fair, though, one of the things I do want to talk about before we leave today is, and this is an interesting, I guess, way to cap it off as far as this podcast is concerned. because Peter and I were talking about like was this the correct way to market a movie like this? Well, I guess a lot of the disappointment and I think a lot of the befuddlement of the movie really does come from how Universal chose to market this movie as far as the return to Steven Spielberg, basically selling it on him, putting him on the podcast circuit, and because of it being placed in June, kind of selling it as a bit of a summer movie. This is not really a summer movie. It's more of a fall movie. It's not really a blockbuster either. So just inherently, I could tell very much so that the studio was having a really hard time how to sell this movie. And so that they chose what they chose, and not for nothing, the film has made already a lot more money than films like The Post or Bridge of Spies did. And that was pre-COVID era, at the domestic box office. So as far as like if you're Steven Spielberg and you're the people that back him, what did you want this movie to do? Make money. Because the last few movies didn't make money at all. They got nominations for awards, some even won awards, and they're far more beloved as far as like, Universal, I guess, response to it. Now, at the time, everybody was like, West Side Story? Anyway, let's go somewhere else. Fabelmans? Anyway, let's go somewhere else. So like that's just how it is. But it's promising. I know it's not going to be a huge hit, but I'm just happy it didn't embarrass itself yet. So we'll have to see how that goes. Any other thoughts before we close tonight's podcast?
Nope.
No. I will just say, just watch a couple of weeks where everybody is slobbering over the Odyssey. You can't say enough good things about that.
So, all right, wrap it up.
Anywho, let's go ahead and end right here. Stay under our spotlight for more content and more. We've got plenty of reviews coming up. Don't forget also that we do some reactions also on the side. All of which Peter has an open invitation to, but he seemingly somehow just never shows up.
That's fucking new.
You have an open invite to be on any of the shows. I don't know why you act like you're not wanted. If I didn't want you on this podcast, why are you even here in the first place? Anyway, stay tuned for more of this and more on Red Spotlight. We'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.